Mute the microphones, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'll call to order the Moraga-Orinda Fire District Regular Board Meeting, August 19th, 2026, for a 6 o'clock closed session and a 7 o'clock open session.
Okay.
So can we have a roll call, please?
And Michael, can you turn the volume up a little tiny bit?
She wanted us to unmute, sorry.
Director Hassler,
Here. Director
Romer,
Here.
and Second Vice President Jex is absent. Vice President Danziger.
Here.
And President Jorgens.
Here. Okay, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oops.
Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay,
And so now we will take public comment on the closed session items. We have one attendee. If you'd like to comment on the closed session items, you can raise your hand. And we do not have any public comment.
who's the attendee?
Is Jackson
Okay.
Miller.
John Steffen.
Okay. Great.
Okay,
So
so we will close public comment.
and we'll open the meeting again at 7 o'clock for the public session.
And the time is 6:01. We will adjourn to closed session.
Okay.
Okay. The time is 7:08 and you can unmute your microphone.
I'll call the meeting back to order. Can we have a roll call, please, Marcia?
Director Hassler?
Here.
Director Romer?
Here.
Second Vice President Jex is absent. Vice President Danziger?
Here.
President Jorgens?
Here.
Report of closed session action.
There's nothing to report.
Item 6 is proclamation honoring La Miranda CERT Program Manager Duncan Siebert on his retirement.
Good evening, directors. Next item before you is recognizing Duncan for his years of dedicated service through our CERT program. And before I turn it over to members of the CERT organization, I'd like to read this proclamation. So forgive me as I read through this. Whereas through his vision, dedication, and exceptional leadership, Duncan became the La Miranda CERT program manager in 2011, guiding the program through years of remarkable growth and innovation. And under Duncan's leadership, La Miranda CERT has become a model of excellence recognized throughout the San Francisco Bay Area, with neighboring CERT programs looking to La Miranda as a standard for effective training, volunteer engagement, and community preparedness. And during his tenure, La Miranda CERT achieved extraordinary milestones, including conducting 38 basic training class series, graduating over 1,000 CERT volunteers, fulfilling almost 5,000 emergency water drum orders, hosting 146 monthly preparedness presentations, and participating in 15 Lafayette Art and Wine festivals, while also supporting countless communities, events, emergency preparedness fairs, disaster exercises, drills, neighborhood presentations, traffic control assignments, Stop the Bleed classes, MOFD open houses, and outreach opportunities that strengthen the resilience of the La Miranda communities. And whereas Duncan generously shared his expertise beyond La Miranda by reviewing, updating, improving CERT training materials used by programs throughout the Bay Area, ensuring the emergency preparedness education remained current, practical, and effective for thousands of volunteers. And whereas Duncan's influence is measured not only by statistics, but by the confidence he instilled in the volunteers, the instructors he mentored, and the leaders he developed, and the countless lives made safer through a stronger, more capable CERT program. And therefore be it resolved that the governing board of the Moraga-Orinda Fire Protection District, on behalf of the entire community, hereby recognizes and honors Duncan Siebert for his outstanding leadership, steadfast commitment, and immeasurable contributions to CERT and the community it serves. And be it further resolved that the governing board extends its deepest gratitude, heartfelt congratulations to Duncan on his retirement, with sincere appreciation for years of extraordinary service, and it is its very best wish for health, happiness, and many well-deserved adventures in the years ahead. Duncan.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. It's been a long time coming, 15 years. We've seen a lot of changes in La Miranda CERT. I see only 2 people who were here when I started. And many of the people who are now instructors came through the classes as I was leading the program. So the success of the program is all on the leadership of the instructors. And I'd like to have them be recognized also, because they are critical to the program. Instructors, you want to stand up? Two of the firefighters here are very active instructors with CERT also. They teach our fire module, and in the exercise, they teach cribbing. So thank you much.
I'm Julie Sparks, Emergency Preparedness Coordinator with Moraga-Orinda Fire District, and Duncan running as Program Manager, running the Moraga-Orinda CERT program. I've worked with Duncan now for 15 years, which
Wow.
is about 13 years longer than I've worked for the district, at least that I've been paid by the district. But I do want to say all those things in that proclamation are obviously true. He's been a wonderful person to lead a program, and really it's in the development of developing the program and the things that he took it from. We inherited a spreadsheet that was completely corrupted of previous CERT graduates, and we were able to pull that, connect with people, and create a robust program. We had a waiting list before COVID of people who wanted to take the classes, so we're still working on building back. But Duncan's done a phenomenal job, and he's truly inspired me to be who I am today. I didn't really want to talk in public. I didn't really want to teach a class that much. And he's like, just do it. And I did it, and I love it. And I'm super grateful because I've received so much feedback from the people that I've instructed. I've gotten emails from firefighters saying how something that somebody learned in CERT saved them, or they were able to put out a small electrical fire in their bathroom and they just had a few singes in their eyebrows. You know, that's pretty awesome. They could have lost their whole home. So yeah, it's very rewarding for me. So I appreciate the things that Duncan has taught me and the things that I've learned by working with Duncan for the last 15 years. So thank you for everything. And I know you're still going to be around. So it's not a full goodbye. So thank you, Duncan.
Good evening, directors. Dennis Frayne. I'm the Prescribed Fire Program Manager, but in another life, I was the Emergency Preparedness Coordinator here at the district. And this is a pretty special night. The proclamation is wonderful. It laid out a lot of the things that Duncan did. I worked with Duncan from the time that he took over the CERT program and watched him be super organized, super dedicated, and super innovative. There's not another CERT program that makes as much from adding to the community in things like the water drum program, where there's tens of thousands of gallons of emergency water out there that supported the CERT program, but also support the people in the neighborhoods that we'll be responding to. I watched Duncan, what we sort of co-collaborated. I was trying to do something with my incident management team, and Duncan built in his garage a whole multimedia live stream system for when COVID was, so that they could broadcast CERT meetings out and stuff. And just the head scratching and innovation and stuff that he's done over the years, I think is truly remarkable. So I just wanted to take this opportunity again with you to thank Duncan for the many, many thousands of hours he's donated to the district, and he left our communities much better for that. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Well, I
So-
went to
Go ahead. Do you want to-
directors.
So
I'd like
Director,
to-
can we get you to come up and maybe take a picture with all of us?
We're gonna talk too, right?
Oh, yeah.
But go ahead.
This is Director Wilmer. I just wanted to say briefly that as I look out here in the audience, I started out with the CERT program, and all of these people have taught me so much. And I cherish your friendship and what I've learned from all of you, from Bruce, from Jacob, from Perrin, from Dennis, from Julie. And especially from Duncan, because Duncan has made it all possible. And not only have I learned in the field, in the classroom, and at coffees and appreciation dinners with all of you, but I continue to learn with you every day. And beyond just the learning experience, you've been a pleasure to work with, Duncan. I think you're a great human being, as all of you people are. And your motivations are not just to yourself and your family, but it's to the entire community. And I got the deepest respect for all of you and everything that you've done for our community. Thank you, Duncan.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you, just, as both a citizen and as a board member, having people that volunteer to the extent that you do, and all the work that you do, and the dedication, and the people you manage, and the creativity, it makes us proud to be both residents and board members, from people like you can lead the community. Thank you.
Director Danziger here, same thing. My wife and I went through the program before I was a director. I thought you were all of you that I'm looking at here, I thought you were all employees of MOFD. I didn't know, I had to ask somebody, who's this guy? Especially the two of you who I saw every meeting I went to, every training you were there. I had to say, are these people part of the fire district? Yes, they are. Oh, they're employees? No, they're volunteers. I couldn't believe it. So thank you. You know, I'm still learning every day how to be prepared, and I hope to be more involved in the CERT program in the future, and the instructors too.
Yeah, and thank you from the board. I think, I think about all of the volunteer hours that go in. We have a great district, lots of firefighters, great people, but the volunteers add that extra layer of community involvement. I know several people that are involved with CERT, and they appreciate your leadership over the years. And it's great leaders like you, like Moraga-Orinda, safer and better for the citizens. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we have the instructors, everyone come down with Duncan? We'll all get a picture. Come on.
You teach too.
Might need to get a couple of folks on this.
And then we haven't had somebody take a picture with Dennis.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it.
Wait, Dennis, you're up there.
You're cheap.
All right. One more time, just smile. Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, after all that, do we have any additional public comment on that item? Okay,
Okay, and we do not have any public comment in person. We do not have any hands raised. And so the next item on the agenda is 7.1. We need to conduct a public hearing and adopt the annual operating budget for fiscal year 2027 as the final budget.
Good evening, directors. The final budget for fiscal year 2027 is before the board for adoption tonight. In April 2026, the budget was reviewed in detail at a public budget workshop, and the board directed changes. In May, the budget was discussed for the second time with a review of property tax revenue. In June, the budget was discussed for a third time, and the preliminary budget was adopted. The final budget tonight is the same as the preliminary budget that was approved in June. No changes are recommended since June. This presentation highlights the significant items. The general fund budget reflects a budget surplus with revenue exceeding expenditures and transfers to the capital projects fund in the amount of $182,000. At the May board meeting, the board was informed that supplemental property tax revenue for fiscal year 2026 was less than budgeted. Last fiscal year, the district budgeted $550,000 for supplemental property tax revenue and received $137,425, resulting in a negative variance of $413,000. This is the lowest amount of supplemental property tax revenue received in at least the last 18 years. The 2027 budget conservatively includes $100,000 for supplemental property tax revenue. The final budget includes 89.5 authorized positions.
Hang on a second.
This includes safety roster strength of 48 positions, which are all filled. changes in emergency medical services positions to reflect operational needs, expansion of the payroll technician from part-time to full-time, and reclassification of the district clerk position. The capital projects fund includes 3 projects listed on the slide. The budget also includes a transfer out of the general fund into the capital projects fund in the amount of $751,000 for depreciation. The fuel break maintenance fund includes budgeted expenditures of $121,000. This graph shows reserves since 2018. The last column shows that based on the final budget, total reserves would increase in 2027. Staff recommends the board adopt the final budget for 2027 or provide additional direction. This concludes the staff report.
Questions of staff by district board?
Yes, it's Director Danziger. I wanted to ask about some more, just into the variance from the supplemental property tax a little bit more. We've talked about that for the last few months. I just wonder if there's been a couple of questions, follow up with the board supervisors, any additional information or other jurisdictions, perhaps, San Ramon District or others that have had the same impact from the supplemental tax. Or even maybe the city of Orinda or town of Moraga, would.
Yes, sir. I spoke to my counterpart at Confire and they were missing, I want to say somewhere in the neighborhood of $3 million. We have contacted the Jill Ray from Candace Anderson's office, and she was looking into this for us and going to get us some more information back when they had it.
And we know that the FBI raided the offices of the assessor and I think the prior assessor also, and also raided their homes. So we're not the only ones looking at it.
Yeah. Yes, that's been in the news. There's trouble in the assessor's office.
So there's no other information at this point. I mean, this is what we heard. I mean, I'm I'm just asking, there's nothing else to report really that it's any closer, any information on why this occurred or, I mean,
No, sir, no.
from just what we said. Okay. Okay.
Any further questions?
Well, no real questions. I just want to make, I want to thank you for the chief too, for, we're working on a project at Station 42. And I just want to note that you put some extra funds in the landscaping fund for Station 42. So we'll be able to continue working on that project and hopefully complete it by the end of October. And it's our Firewise garden. So I appreciate that those funds are in there. In case anyone didn't see that, I just want to note that the amount of money is $9,000 for this coming year. And we did spend $5,000 already. So I appreciate that.
Okay, any more comment from the board? Any comment from the public?
So the hearing is open and we can move on to preliminary board comments.
We had those, yeah.
And then we can open public comment. We do not have any hands raised or in-person public comment.
So do I hear a motion to approve the budget?
This is Director Romer. I make a motion to approve the budget.
I'll second that.
Marcia?
Director Hassler,
Aye.
Director Romer,
Aye.
Vice President Danziger,
Aye.
President Jorgens.
Aye, the motion passes.
Item 8, announcements, brief information, only reports related to meetings attended by a director at district expense. Hearing none. Questions and informational comments from board members and staff?
I just have one. It's related to what I just mentioned about the Station 42. So anyone, especially on the board, who would like to come out and see what we're doing there, you may have seen the project if you've driven by 42, but we're there every Friday for the public also. Anyone want to come by and see what we're doing? We're there on Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And it's making a lot of progress and we're targeting, like I said, the weekend of October 24th, hopefully, for a grand opening on that. So we're making good progress.
Great. Thank you.
And can I ask a quick question? Who else involved? There's more than just you involved. Is there like
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
garden club or
The UC Master Gardeners of Contra Costa County are the volunteers who are doing all the work. They've also allocated some funds for us for which I met with them just yesterday to visit the site. And we also got good input from the community. Rotary, Sunrise Rotary is building our kiosk. Kiwanis are building benches. We have cash donations from Garden Club and the Moraga Community Fund. And there's some others pending right now, but yeah. So it's,
Well, thank you. Thank you for your leadership on that.
yeah.
Thank you.
So for communications received, we received 2 from Livermore Pleasanton Fire Department in the town of Moraga. Both of those were included in the packet and available on our website. And then we will go to fire chief updates and start with the Firewise Ambassador Challenge.
Good evening, directors. As part of my updates tonight, I wanted to take a quick minute to recognize some of our Firewise neighborhoods. One thing that was direction given to me by former Chief Winokur when I started as fire marshal was to build our Firewise program and to partner with our neighborhoods and create that partnership and collaboration with our residents. And when I started back in 19, I think we might have had somewhere 7 to 10 Firewise neighborhoods. I think we're up over 30 now. And it's just a great partnership and a way to collaborate and get the fire prevention message out there. I was recently contacted by one of our Firewise leaders, and he told me about a challenge that they did, and I thought it was a great opportunity to recognize the partnership and collaboration we have with our Firewise partners. So Rob, you want to come up and describe the challenge real quick and announce the winners? And
Directors, thank you for the time, Chief Isaacs. So the Firewise Ambassador Program is a project that we did to encourage the Firewise leaders. So we had a contest to see which neighborhoods could get the most ambassador visits, both on a total number and a per capita increase. And the 3 winners are here with us today. I'd like to recognize them for their great work. We've got Patty Stark from Acacia Drive, Hacienda Circle, Orinda Woods HOA, Barry Horn, and Greater Camino, Don Miguel, Margie Kaplan. So if you guys can step up. Can we take a picture?
absolutely. And I just want to say thank you very much for the effort that you guys put into making our community fire safe and the partnership. It is greatly appreciated.
So how many ambassador visits did we get about through them, you know?
So in total, I think it was maybe 150
Oh,
Wow,
or so
that's a lot.
for a 3-month period.
wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you, especially, we have the 2x2 meetings we have with the city of Orinda, and we have the same thing in the town of Moraga. And every time we struggle with, gee, we have a great message to get out, but how do you get it out? We try newspapers, we try Facebook, everything you get, flyers and websites. And the best way to do it is exactly how you're doing it, because it actually really connects with people and it gives them an extended period of time, not just to read a piece of paper, which they may or may not do, but to actually talk to people and truly understand it and ask questions and be interactive. So this is, in my opinion, the most powerful way you can actually get the word out and truly be, as a group, ambassadors and making the whole Firewise thing really work. So thank you. It's perfect.
Yep.
Quick photo, directors?
Sure.
Dennis?
Nice.
Got it. Thanks so much. Everybody, good job.
I'm in next time.
Okay, thank you for that.
The next item is our finance report.
Good evening, Director. I'm presenting the finance report. First, we have the strike team receivable update. The fiscal year 25-26 strike team receivable totaling 817,467, and we have received the total amount.
Woo-hoo. John Jackson would be proud of you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Treasury bill update. The district has 19,060,000 invested in treasury bill as of today, and the maturity dates is listed on the slides. Staff will project cash flow to determine amount of reinvestment available when treasury bill matures. Other items. We processed the 26-27 prepayment retirement contribution of 9.2 million to Sacera on July 27. Fiscal year 25-26 audit field work begin audit August 24 next week. June 30, 2026 fiscal year close is in process. End of report. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Great job. Thank you.
Next item is human resource update.
Right. Good evening, directors. I have a very brief recruitment update tonight. So we are fully staffed for a senior single role paramedic, for single role emergency medical technician, and for fuels mitigation specialist. For single role paramedic, we had one vacancy. We hosted a testing process last week and identified one person that is currently going through background. And upon successful completion of the background process, we will be fully staffed. And unless there are any questions, that concludes my update.
That's great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Next item is our prescribed fire program.
Good evening, directors. Dennis Rain, Prescribed Fire Program Manager. Just a brief report on the status of our kind of from December 2025 till August 1st, the burn program. The map that you see before you, every purple dot was a pile that was made within the district. Most of those were made by Fire Crew 12. As you can see at Bear Ridge, we did 285 piles. And in that area, those are all made by Crew 12. The green dots on the map are piles yet to be burned. So once we finished at Bear Ridge, we moved down to Wagner Ranch on the East Bay Mud side, and then at the Pear Orchard, and then also over in what used to be the school district's Wagner Ranch Nature Area, which is now being managed by John Muir Land Trust. We completed 50 piles down there, and the green dots are 57 piles that remain on the west side of Camino Pablo. And then the piles at Orinda Woods, that was part of a Measure X grant that the Orinda Woods Homeowners Association got. So that was not funded by the district, but the Crew 12 came in and they built piles there. We worked with them to complete burning 24 piles. And I think it says there's like 25 or 6 remaining up there. All the green piles have rolled over onto our fall burn list. So as soon as we get some significant precipitation, we'll be back out to try and take care of those. Next slide, please. Once we finished the pile burning kind of area, or where we kind of ran out of gas there, needed to transfer over and start burning in our ridgetop fuel breaks. The red lines that you see there represent significant areas of exposure as far as ridgetop fire transmission that we used the MOFD crews and East Bay Regional Park crew. and some Confire to help us burn in. It's called black lining, a fuel break. It's between 50 and 100 feet wide that goes down those ridge. In the lower corner, you'll see that the Fay Hill area has got green on it. We weren't able to get to that before our prescription window closed when the fuels became too dry to put fire on the ground there. But again, that one is on the fall list. Next slide, please. And then this is that operation. If you've driven through Moraga and Orinda and looked up at Donald Drive or the area along Carroll Ridge in Moraga. The technique that we used as the crews came in, we laid hose at the bottom perimeter. We lit the fire at the top, let it back downhill into the wind. And when it got to the bottom, there was firefighters standing right there to put it out. So in this case, we have fire backing down the hill and we're just working along the ridge. The hose lay kind of goes to the lower left of the corner of that video slide that you saw. And when the fire got down there, we just put it out and we're able to mop it up as we went. So actually all of the ridgetop burning that we did was done in the mornings. And the crews were generally released by 12 or 1 o'clock so they could do other things with their day. We're working to refine that so we can get more burn days and be a little bit more efficient next year. But I think we had a pretty good product from what we did. And firefighters got their hands on the hose and got to figure out how to get fire lightly on the land to meet our goals. Next slide, please. Some factors that caused us to postpone things. We had 2 days that the Air Quality Management District said, hey, it's just not a good day to burn. There'd be too many impacts. We had some fire crew scheduling and their availability. They had other projects or other fires that they needed to be up. We had 2 days of fog, and the picture on the left there is a day that we went up to burn at Donald Drive and it didn't rain. That was all fog drip on the tree. So fuels were just too wet to burn. So we had to postpone a couple of days that way. We had 1 day when we went up to burn that the fuels hadn't cured yet. So things were too green to burn. We tried the next couple of days and finally got it to where fuels had dried out long enough. The grass had turned brown, and then local fire activity delayed us a couple of days. And then projects that we're planning for the fall, again, all the things that you saw in green on green dots or polygons there, those rolled over to the fall, but we're still planning on burning some units at Flicker Ridge. We've been working with the town of Moraga Parks and Rec to burn at Moraga Commons. We want to go back to Bear Ridge now that the piles have been burned there and do an understory burn there again. That will be the third entry there. The piles are there. Nimitz Way, I'm working with East Bay Regional Parks and East Bay Mud to get an understory burn going in the eucalyptus grove that's right on the top of the ridge off Nimitz Way in Tilden. And then again with the Sorora Tay Land Trust in Canyon, they've asked us to come back and help them with their cultural burning program that's out there. Next slide. And then finally, I just wanted to mention that the Contra Costa County Resource Conservation District reached out to us and they asked us if we would do a community fuel break walk. We did that on Saturday, July 11th at the Wagner Ranch at Wagner Ranch area. We partnered with East Bay Municipal Utility District ranger staff and the staff at the John Muir Land Trust, and we packaged it like, the fire doesn't care about political or property boundaries, and our agencies are working together. So we were able to take the 15 plus or minus participants, and James Wilson walked them through the Wagner Ranch nature area and talked about the positive impacts of fire, showed them an area of the Oakland Mariposa lily that they said wouldn't be there had we not been burning there, which was pretty interesting. Got to look at the pile burning. We talked about the areas that PG&E funded with the California Conservation Corps crew, and then tried to leave the folks that came with the notion that we're not just out there lighting indiscriminate fire on the land. We talked a lot about the planning process, the prescription window, notifications, working with our partners and those things. So it actually came off to be a pretty interesting morning with a lot of great questions. And then just last week, the Resource Conservation District reached back out to the district, and the California Special Districts Association wants to come back and have that same tour in October. So That'll be kind of state level people from special districts around the state that'll be coming to see how we work with prescribed fire and resource management and our partners. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Just a quick one. One of the last board meetings, we heard that there are a number of car fires that happen on the way up the hill to the Caldecott Tunnel because people that have stolen them, burn them and leave somehow, and that often starts fires. Is it possible to do controlled burning on that hill? Because it's a really steep hill and I assume it's going to be, it'd be hard to run up that hill or get any sort of equipment or water or anything else up the hill. Is it possible to burn that preemptively?
Almost anything's possible. I'd have to look at the piece of ground, and if it's where I'm thinking it is very steep there. Part of that jurisdiction belongs to Caltrans, and the other part is East, I believe it's East Bay Municipal Utility District property. So we would need to work with them and figure out which management technique to control that or to mitigate that would be the best. Prescribed fire would be one option, mechanical treatment, goats, the usual suspects there, but.
Because at the top of the hill is a whole bunch of eucalyptus and then there's a lot more eucalyptus.
Yeah.
So it would be, and then there's houses. So.
Yeah, I'll chat with the chief and we'll figure out if there's a way we can get fire in there or something. All right.
Dennis, I have a question. When you do burning in the fall, is there any attempt to reseed with like native flowers, plants, things like that?
Depends, again, it depends on the area. Most of the areas that we'll be burning already have a pretty good seed bed in there. And burning in the fall is actually more conducive to those seeds not getting steam so that they can regenerate. In a number of areas where we've done spring burns in Moraga, and I'm trying to think, there was a couple of areas where we actually, on the North-Orinda Shaded Fuel Break, where we actually were able to, on the grant money, purchase native erosion control mix seeds and go back in and reseed it. In fact, the Bear Ridge area is one of those areas where CNPS came in and they said, oh my gosh, they did Transx, and they're excited to come back after we burn it this year and see what comes back in the spring. So we have done that. It's just very expensive.
To throw seeds? I mean.
Well, the throwing the seeds is easy, the buying the seeds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Adds
mind boggling.
Gathering those.
I just wonder if maybe we can partner, maybe we can get some partners. I'm thinking our Master Gardeners or CNPS or someone to partner with us and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now we have the fire prevention report.
Good evening, directors. I'll be presenting the fire prevention report for June and July 2026. Focused inspections are now complete. Fuels mitigation staff have conducted 2,650 inspections this year. Violations were identified at approximately 1,500 properties. Many violations were maintenance related, primarily due to vegetation regrowth. The most common violations were in Zone 0 and include combustibles within 2 feet of structures, trees requiring 6-foot limit and 6-foot vertical clearance from the roof. Staff are now transitioning to re-inspections and investigating the remaining complaints. The Fire Prevention Division is now fully staffed with 5 fuels mitigation specialists. 4 are new hires who have been with the district only a few months and their training remains ongoing. Moving onto fee waivers, 1 was processed. For property transfer inspections, staff completed 85 in June and July. The Home Hardening Grant Program continues to see consistent participation, completing orders for vent mesh and gutter guard. Next slide. For new construction and permits, 93 plan reviews and 35 inspections were completed in the last 2 months. 8 days of contract chipping were completed. For state mandated inspections, 1 school was inspected. This is a new high school called Chesterton Academy at 40 Santa Maria Way in Orinda. It will focus on arts and humanities and is now fully compliant. 25 apartment inspections were completed. 20 apartments have achieved compliance. That number has been updated from the board reports and what you see on the slide. The remaining 5 apartments require corrective action. St. Mary's dormitories are compliant again for the 2nd year in a row.
Wow.
More details will follow in my St. Mary's update following this report. We received the following operational permits: a hot work permit for Madera Pumping Plant, hot work permit for Arroyo Reservoir, a special event permit for the OMPA swim meet, and a fireworks permit for the 4th of July fireworks. Next slide. And here's some photos from the 4th of July special event. The event was a success and without incident. End of report. I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes.
You briefly mentioned the Chesterton School.
Yes.
And you said they're fully compliant.
Yes.
Can you give us, I don't want to take up too much time, but
Yeah.
as you recall, somebody contacted me about that several months ago, and it seems that they had a lot of work to do. So I'm actually delighted and surprised that they appear to be compliant. Can you give me a little bit more detail?
Yeah.
And if it's a lot of detail, I'm happy to talk
Yeah, I can give a brief
outside the
summary.
board, but the other members of the board might be interested too, so.
Yeah, so we worked with the City of Orinda Planning Department, and they wanted to utilize a building that was an existing school. And so I had my inspector go out there and do a full inspection of that building. And what they intend to do is start a freshman class of high school students and progressively add the next class each year.
So they're starting school this year with just the freshman class.
They started today.
They're starting today. Congratulations. I'm delighted to hear that, that they're compliant, and it must have cost them some substantial amount of money to be compliant too, unless we did some unusual modification. So they're all good, and I think also there was a pipe going up there that we were concerned about, or you were concerned about, and there's going to be adequate water if they need to establish a sprinkler system.
So the school was inspected as existing. We worked with the City of Orinda, and it's utilized as an existing school.
Okay. Okay, because it's probably to their advantage that they're just starting with one class.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Well, congratulations. Good job. I'm delighted to hear that.
Yes.
Just one quick question. On the new or the property transfers, we had talked about, either re-inspecting them or communicating with the new buyers and things about what, because I've heard several real estate agents who will remain nameless say, oh, don't worry, you can just, that bark that you've, pulled several feet away from your house so that it meets code. Well, you can just put that right back in place. Don't worry. And then you can drive around and see lots of them that have done it, like my neighbors. And so do we ever go back out, because it's a new person? It isn't the person that sold it that's the problem. It's the people that now live there that are the, not the problem, but the uneducated. And I'm going to guess many of them have come in from outside of a district that has requirements like we do. So it would be a thought to go back and re-inspect them and re-educate them, or give them something that tells them what the requirements are when they move in. I don't know, we had talked about a couple of those things in the past. So. Yeah,
my staff know to go back and re-inspect them on an occasional basis, about 30 days after they do the property transfer inspections. The manager hasn't reported that issue. In the past, it has been a big issue, but as of right now, he hasn't reported that being a continuing issue.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, now we will have the St. Mary's College update.
I'll be providing an update on St. Mary's College for June and July. Let's begin with nuisance alarms. Unfortunately, they've increased with 8 in June and 9 in July, primarily due to cooking, shower steam, and unknown causes with increased summer camp activity. I'll continue working with the campus to reduce these alarms. Regarding dormitory compliance, all dormitory buildings are now in full compliance. Over the summer, fire prevention was involved in several campus projects. 3 buildings completed fire alarm system replacements, improving safety for occupants and visitors. Overall, St. Mary's continues to make progress in fire and life safety across campus, not just dormitories, and has begun to partner with MOFD. End of report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
It's great news. Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations again. That was a big deal, and you've done a great job. And
thank you.
Congratulations to the chief too. I know 8 to 9 might be a slight increase, but as I recall, it's a lot. It's down a lot from what it was a year or 2 or 3 ago.
Correct.
Yeah. So good job.
And a lot safer.
A lot safer.
More importantly. Yeah.
How do you like your new office?
It's beautiful. Much appreciated. Yes.
Okay.
And Chief, did we have a verbal operations update? or,
Yes, thank you. Good evening, directors. No operations report this evening. Deputy Chief Lambert is out of the district on a fire. He's with several of our members out of state, in the northern part of, Washington on some of the large incidents. So we'll have the operations report, in October when he gets back.
Hey, Chief, do we still have other people out deployed as well besides Chief Lambert?
Yes, sir. We had several come back and then we have additional ones that are redeploying. One of the ones that came back was in district for a couple of weeks and he's already got the phone call to go back out with one of the federal teams.
Wow.
okay. And then the next item is our upcoming calendar and events. And of note, the September 16th board meeting has been canceled. And the next regular board meeting is scheduled for October 21. We can now open public comment for all of the announcements. We do not have any hands raised. We do not have any in-person public comment. Public comments now open for items that are not on the agenda. We did receive 4 written public comments, which were included in the packet and are available on our website. So we do not have any hands raised. We do not have any in-person public comment. Public comments now open for the consent agenda items. And we do not have any in-person or remote public comment.
Do we have any board comment on the consent agenda? Or do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Romer seconds.
Director Hassler?
Aye.
Director Romer?
Aye.
Vice President Danziger?
Aye.
President Jorgens?
Aye. Passes. Thank you.
Item 11, Director Vacancy District 2. Resignation of Director John Jex.
Good evening, directors. I believe District Council John Holtzman was going to handle this item.
And he is on Zoom.
I am. Sorry about that. Yep. Okay. So as the board is aware, Director Jex has submitted his resignation. I believe it is effective August 30th. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. As the written report indicates, the board will have 60 days from the effective date of that resignation in order to fill that vacancy. If the board fails to fill that vacancy in that time, then the Contra Costa Board of Supervisors will fill the vacancy. So tonight we are here basically to discuss the process by which the board wishes what the board process the board wants to follow. The first issue is that pursuant to the government code, there is the opportunity to decide whether you want to fill the vacancy or whether you wish to call a special election. That special election, by the way, would be, I believe it would be out at least a year, but that is your initial question under the government code. After that, depending upon what you decide, obviously if you wish to fill it with through a special election, then that's the way we would go. If you do not, and if the board wishes to fill it itself, then we need to establish tonight what the appropriate process will be. There is a fair amount of flexibility in the code about that process. We are required to do a couple of things. One is to give notice within 15 days, I believe, and Anastasia, correct me if I'm wrong, 15 days to the county of the existence of the vacancy. And we are also required to post within 15 days of the date, if you decide that you want to fill the vacancy, the existence of the vacancy in the district. Obviously, that's a minimum time. You can post for longer than that if you wish. The other things to know about this process are that although you may create an ad hoc committee, and an ad hoc committee is not subject to the Brown Act and therefore does not need to meet and notice meetings, although it can. If the board wishes to consider this matter, it must be in open session. So that means both the interviews that you would do and the actual discussions within the board about how to fill the vacancy would all be done at public noticed meetings. They it does not require that they be at regular meetings. So the board is also free to set additional meetings or other meetings at which to fill the vacancies.
So John, should we, there was a decision that we have to make, whether we appoint or whether we have an election. Should we make that decision now and then we can follow on whatever path we've decided then?
Yes, that is the first question that you need to decide, and it is in the staff recommendation would be to decide whether you wish to fill the vacancy or whether you wish to call a special election to fill the vacancy.
So do we have any discussion about that?
Well, in the board packet, I think there's a cost with having a special election, right? That is per ballot. Is that right, John? There's a cost to that?
Yes. Yeah, and actually, I'm going to call on, I think Marcia is the expert on this.
There is a cost, and in the staff report, there's a consolidated amount, which I want to say, I don't have it in front of me, ranges like $3 to $4.
Yeah, okay.
But if it's a standalone, you're talking $10 to $13 for
voter. Per ballot.
voter. And there's approximately 5,000 plus voters in District 2. And so the cost depends because if the standalone election is held, if there's another special district or something happening, you could consolidate with someone. But if you're by yourself, and that's why there's a variance.
Okay, got it.
So, as I recall, in my district, and the districts are pretty equal, they're about 5,779 voters. So that's about what it is, right? So if that's times 13,
A lot of money.
that's about $75,000.
Yeah.
And what's the earliest that we could hold that? Because I know there's time constraints that we can't consolidate it with the next election. And if we wanted to wait to consolidate it with I guess there's no primary election.
Well, it wouldn't be till 2027.
It would be 2027. And what election could we consolidate it with in 2027? What would be the earliest election? March. So I have some concerns. We're a little bit constrained because we have 5 members of the board. We're all volunteer. We have families that we have commitments to, and we need a 3-person quorum to conduct any business.
Yeah.
We don't have that in September. Usually we are able to do that, but that would mean that we would only have 4 members from now through March. That concerns me.
Well, it's probably longer than March because the vote would have to be certified, right? Probably into May. When could we appoint the board member? When would the board member be able to be on the board? If an election is held in March.
Yeah, that's right. There's some.
At least in November, right? We don't do it until December. We don't have the board, we don't have the board member till December in a normal
Till
election.
December?
Yeah.
Directors, if I may, Marcia, do you have any answer to that question?
So it's a 30-day certification.
30 days.
Okay.
Right.
That's right.
So
Okay.
I guess my summary of that would be
April.
it's expensive.
It's at least
and-
9 months.
and
It's 75. Are there additional costs other than the $75,000?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, okay.
Never mind.
MOFD budget.
And that is a range.
That's a range. I know, I understand.
So I have another question for council. So there are two additional options. We do a search. And the criteria for filling that position is the criteria that the MOFD board has to comply with, is the same criteria that the Board of Supervisors would have to comply with. I'm assuming you have to be a registered voter in not just in Orinda or Moraga, but in that particular division,
Yes.
correct? What other minimum qualifications? I mean, they're the same that we had to fill out when we first ran for election. Is there any?
That's basically it.
So we have to do a search.
Yeah.
That's going to take some time.
There
Well,
are
doesn't-
4 minimum qualifications that are in the candidate voter handbook that you can refer to, but basically they are to be a citizen, to live in the district.
The division.
In the division. You can't be a felon or have committed, there's some verbiage on that. And
You have to be 18 or
Yeah.
more
And
than.
at least
you have to be a
18.
registered voter.
Registered voter.
Registered voter, yeah.
Okay.
Or at least one election, for more than one election?
You just have
And
to be a
just
registered
one
voter.
election.
Just a registered voter.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to have ever voted, you just have to be registered.
Yeah.
Just to be registered. And if we fail to appoint someone within the 60 days, we lose the option to do it.
Yes.
And it devolves to the Board of Supervisors.
Well, I think that we first have to decide, I mean, if we decide to do the election, then it goes to the election process, right? And we,
That's
Right.
with just 4 board members until the election. And then if we choose not to do an election, then we have 60 days.
Well, can we do a search? And then at the end of the
So
search,
hold it,
suppose
hold-
we come up with
hold-
nobody
no,
who's
no,
qualified or
hold-
wants to do it,
hold
can
on,
we
but-
then call an election in April?
Well, you say search. We're not finding a new fire chief. This is people get to volunteer and apply, basically. So they do the searching, not us. We just do the interviewing once
Well, I'm
people
just,
apply.
that's what I'm calling.
We issue the notice. That's the
We
purpose of
issue
the
a notice.
notice, is to notify people that there's an opening so they can reach out and
They can.
tell us they want to do.
Yeah, so let me try to focus the conversation. The first question, before we get into, how you would do I won't call it a search, but how you would notify, et cetera, is really the question of whether you wish to appoint or whether you wish to kick it to an election. So that's a question, that's a threshold question tonight. And my suggestion is that you resolve that before we go into the whole, how would we do it?
Based on the cost of doing a special election and the delay in doing that, which would be next year, I would be in favor of appointing, following the process to appoint.
I agree.
I would agree with that, with the caveat. I think the election is the better option, if not for the cost or the timing. But I
Yeah,
think,
I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
If you believe in democracy, then that's
Well, but
kind of the.
there's going to be an
default.
election, this is roughly halfway through their term anyway. So it's going to be an election in 2 years.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, it was
practical.
unfortunate, and I personally was disappointed that if Director Jex, I thank him for all his work he did, but if he would have resigned 2 weeks earlier or so, we could have got it on the ballot in November, but it was just a little too late.
Yeah, I think it
Well,
was a month and a half
personally,
earlier.
I'm sad.
It was a
John
month and a half
Jackson's been
earlier.
a wonderful member of this board. He
Well,
served for 9.5
August
years.
7th.
He and Marlene have been great contributors to this community.
Yeah.
He's been an invaluable member. I
For
wish he would have
130
served,
days.
I wish he could have served his term out.
Yeah.
But it's not for me to second guess his personal choices based upon whatever criteria he has.
Yes.
All I can say is I'm more sad than I am disappointed. I'll miss him.
I will miss him. I will miss him greatly.
I think we have consensus to appoint.
Okay, so let's move on to question 2. So the next fork in the road in how you go about this is whether you want to do this by way of full board interviews or whether you want to do it by way of an ad hoc, which could, by the way, be in public or not in public. But that's your next kind of fork in the road as I see it.
So John, can we do, my thoughts is maybe a hybrid version where you have an ad hoc to maybe meet to determine the process, application, resume, and the questions. And we just put that out, but then when we get all that back, can the entire board meet in a public meeting to go over it and to do the interviews in public?
For sure. I mean, you've got tons of latitude here. Another possibility on that score is we actually, because we saw, well, we didn't have a lot of warning, but we saw this coming enough. We have actually put together a fair number of materials that you could approve tonight so that we could get this out to the public sooner rather than later, which obviously has a certain value from the standpoint of just giving us the maximum amount of time to go out and solicit people to be on the board.
Well, I think we should quicken and streamline and make it as simple as possible. And I think we should do an ad hoc. I think and I don't know that we need to break it up. I mean, the ad hoc committee under the Brown Act can't communicate with the other members of the committee, right? So we're constrained by the Brown Act. And so we have to have a certain amount of trust in the two people that we choose.
I agree that I think we should do an ad hoc, but I think the interview process and the discussion should be public.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
You agree with that?
I agree.
We all agree. Okay.
Yep.
Well, then I have two people in mind for the ad hoc. Since John Jex was in Moraga, I think there ought to be a Moraga representative on the board, and I would hope that Director Hassler would be willing to serve. The president of the board is Director Jorgens, and I would ask if Director Jorgens would be willing to do that. I know it takes a lot of time, and I know that we're already constrained in that manner. But if you're willing to do it, I think that
I'm going to say
it's
it
not that I
depends.
don't-
I have a scheduling conflict. I will be out of the country for 4 weeks. So between now and October 20, whatever. So
I guess I think what I heard Director
But you can do
Danziger
it by Zoom.
hold on, but I think I heard Director Danziger say that, the reason to have the ad hoc was to kind of do the perfunctory procedural stuff
okay,
before we actually get into
we would do
interviews.
the interviews as a board.
As a board.
That's what I think is
And I
important.
think there was already a list that was sent out of the times that we could have
Yeah,
full participation board meetings.
But ad hoc, I can do ad hoc as long as that leaves the time for us.
But John, you said you had, I think I heard you say you had already prepared some questions and things, so maybe we don't.
Yeah, I don't want to take credit for it really.
You've already done, so maybe we don't need the ad hoc committee.
Well, so, and again, I'm handicapped by not being physically there tonight. I apologize. I'm on vacation. So Marcia, I know Chief, you and I think Anastasia as well have worked on those materials. Do you want to speak to that? One of you guys?
John, I'm happy to speak to this.
Thank you.
I believe we have a list of questions that we could address tonight. And determine, if you feel after that we address the list, if an ad hoc is necessary, we could do that. Otherwise, you could make some decisions tonight and direct council to, for example, put out a notice and include an application and solicit applications. We could take some feedback from you tonight about what you want to see on that application. And then, we could give them a 15-day window to apply, submit the application, we could review. And if I think during, if we could set a few special meeting dates to, maybe we could resolve it in one special meeting. If we need more, then we could reserve some future dates also. But I think what's imperative is that we do it in we have to be mindful of the 60-day window.
Right.
And I'm a little concerned. I don't think we should put it out necessarily until the October meeting.
Right.
That's cutting it too close. And so if you'd like, we can walk through the process tonight. I'm prepared to do that with you.
Sure.
I think we should.
Okay, go for it.
Great. So since we've decided to, go with the appointment route right now, the next question is who will conduct the interview? I heard that the full board wants to conduct the interviews. And
Yep.
That's a good idea. That way deliberation and appointment can be an open session as it must. So the next step is just to decide who's eligible to be appointed. And we've determined that that's already, the appointee must be a resident and a registered voter of Division 2. When to post notice and application is the next question. We're prepared. We have an application in the works as needed. And that could be revised based on feedback that we received tonight. And we could do that as soon as tomorrow, Friday at the latest. So the next question really is application contents. And I can give you our recommendation, the contents of the application, what the application should include. And right now, a statement of interest, we can limit it to the number of words, perhaps 450, 500 words, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I would say, the 450 is what is in a candidate statement. So our thinking on that was, it would make a certain amount of sense. There's a certain amount of symmetry to have the same number of words.
And we have
It's
400.
actually 400.
Oh, 400. I'm sorry.
400.
I apologize. So
No.
there's a certain amount of symmetry, but of course there's no requirement. You could do whatever you
That
want.
makes sense.
Yeah. We should require a resume and proof of residency and voter status.
Yes.
And then, we could discuss some questions that you may want to include to make sure that we, cover what you want to know about this potential candidate. And it's as simple as that. We post a notice with the linked application. We are required to post it in 3 different locations within the Moraga-Orinda jurisdiction, and then decide on the date of review and interviews. Well, I mean, I suppose you could review on your own. You could review the applications that come in. And then when we could schedule a date for interviews, I believe Madam Clerk has sent out a list of 3 days that are potential options for a special meeting. The next step would be to, another question would be, do you allow ex parte communications with the candidates? Can you independently communicate with the candidates before the interviews?
Can each board member
You mean
independently?
like reach out to them, like if I wanted to call them?
John, is that correct?
Yeah, so let me take a step back on that one. So here's the issue. First of all, there is no obviously prohibition on board members contacting people, and in fact, obviously we would encourage people to talk to folks who might want to apply and convince them to apply, et cetera. And it's very clear, of course, 2 board members can talk to the candidate. In reality, even more than 2 board members could talk to them on their own. Again, you couldn't do it in a group, but on their own if they wanted to, but only if there was care taken to make sure that you weren't in any way communicating information that among each other in an attempt to form a consensus of some sort within the board. And so my recommendation is, out of an abundance of caution, that in the ideal world, really no more than 2 board members would contact any given applicant until they come for an interview with the full board. That'd be my preference. But in reality, as long as there's no attempt to communicate among the board through the board members or form some kind of consensus, more can legally do it.
So
does that make sense?
It's not the letter of the Brown Act. It's kind of the spirit of the Brown Act that we're trying to make sure that there's no appearance. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. What you don't want is what's called a seriatim meeting. And, and again, I think consistent with the board's, wise choice to do this in a public setting with the interviews. So, again, it's not a hard and fast rule, but my recommendation would be to try to limit contacts to any one individual to just a couple of people, or, that'd be my preference.
That makes sense. Okay.
So I'm not clear what would be the role of the ad hoc committee.
Maybe there isn't one.
I don't know if we need
I
one,
think, I was
right?
going to say, I think if
yeah.
we decide tonight
Yeah.
that the things that are being proposed seem reasonable and
Yeah.
maybe review the questions and see if we want to add some, delete some, whatever. I think that's what
I
I
don't think
heard
we need to
people
add.
talking about the ad hoc committee.
Yeah, I don't think you do
we need-
either. And I mean, I would just emphasize the problem with an ad hoc committee is they have no power unto themselves. They'd have to bring that back to the full board. And obviously we're short on full board meetings between now and the 60
Yeah,
days.
that's
So
right.
that's what's problematic.
We're already
about the ad hoc.
experiencing the thing that we're concerned about for the next year.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, that surprises me a little bit, but if that works for,
I would rather resolve the list tonight, right, and get things posted
yeah,
so we can get people in the door talking.
yeah, I agree.
If we put out an application, ask for resume and a statement,
Mhm.
can the board, can all of us see that ahead of time? Like, would it be on an agenda? How do we get to review it?
We will,
It meaning the.
I mean, if we put out
right.
ask for an application, a resume and a statement, and
Mhm.
they come back at a certain date,
Mhm.
do we get
We-
to see them
we can see all of them.
ahead of
Sure.
time?
We would distribute it
Is
with
it part of
the agenda.
Or do we, as a board?
Yeah, is it part of a packet that we get 5 days before?
No, no,
Yeah, it'd be part of the agenda packet.
Okay.
You gotta get it ahead of time though.
Which would be public, right? It would be provided to.
It's a
the
public document,
Gonna get it
and we could give it to you ahead of time. There's obviously no prohibition on getting an agenda packet to you earlier, at least, or an agenda. I mean, I'm speaking for Marcia, who's probably going to shoot me right now, but we could get this item to you earlier. I think, Marcia. I mean, help me
Yes.
out.
I think that'd be
Yes.
good.
We'd appreciate as much notice as possible, but I think that it's really important to get this process rolling.
So
We're under a 60-day.
we would recommend a 15-day deadline to, if we, from the date of posting to submit applications, and then we can get the materials to you as soon as they're gathered.
Okay, okay,
And so you could have a certain amount of time before any meeting that we set
all
to
right,
deliberate.
all right.
How long would be the period that we put it out to the public, the vacancy and the process? How long would the public have to turn in applications? Is that up to us to decide? Or-
I believe it is up to us, but given the constraints of the time, the 60 days, we would recommend 2 weeks.
So 15 days.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm here, we're gonna have to have three of us
In person.
Yes.
to approve any person.
Yep.
Can, if you're out of the country to say.
I can be in a meeting remotely.
And you're welcome to join remotely, providing 3 members are present.
You're,
So
okay,
it takes just.
as long as 3 members are
It takes
present.
3
Right, right.
positive votes because it takes a
Yes.
majority of the total number of board positions.
Yeah, 5, so it's 3 of
It takes
5.
3 positive votes,
Yeah.
3 out of the 5,
Okay,
and 3 of them, as
Have to
always,
be
have to
present.
be
yeah.
sitting in
here.
the seat here.
So as
yeah.
long as 3 persons present, 1 person can be remote.
Okay.
Each of the 4 get to vote.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
And we need 3 votes to,
Yeah, because the 2-2 vote isn't going to
Elect
elect anybody.
Right.
Well, that's also practically speaking true.
Might be
Yes.
like choosing the Speaker of the House or something.
Yeah.
All right.
But for some reason you were down to 3 people, you would need all 3. It's not a majority of those
Oh, okay.
present. It's a majority of those who are on the board.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
that's what I was saying. It's
Interesting.
literally
So,
3 positive votes to elect. Or to-
Yeah.
Yes.
the approval.
So the 2-1 is a stalemate, and if that was the last thing that happened, it goes to the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah.
Right, so that's why
Wow.
we were going to have several backup meetings just in case.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Wow, we're really kind of, the legislature sort of ties us in knots.
Super majority. Well, yeah.
for better or worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So then I think that, well, Anastasia, help me, but I think that the next thing is really just scheduling, coming up with the schedule. And I think there are, Marcia has, as you know, polled you guys multiple times on this. I believe there are 3 dates. Is that correct? That
Yeah,
could
of
work?
course, she's everything. So
Yeah.
she has a crystal ball somehow or another.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
there are
Marcia?
3 dates that were established. Would you like me to
Please.
Provide those October 8th, October 14th, and October 27th.
Third is my birthday.
We'd make it short. Well, hopefully we could get all of it done in any one of those,
Yeah.
because all four of us are in all three of those meetings.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Does can we set any time we want for the meeting? Doesn't have to be a regular.
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
The meetings are in the evening, however, due to calendaring with everybody. So the evening time was the preferred.
Oh, it's gonna be six,
Oh.
6 or
Okay.
Or evening could be defined as,
5 or 7.
If we pick a day, because I know I'm the problem.
You know what?
I know I'm the problem
always a-
for
Uh,
evening.
yeah.
But if we pick a day and need to have it earlier in the day and I can schedule it, I can probably be flexible. If we're talking October.
I will
can-
be too.
I
I
can,
will be as I'll just.
I can blank the time out on my calendar and just
Well,
be
what I
present.
would like to do is I'd like to schedule all three of these dates. Now, again, you might only need one of them, but I feel that we'd be best off to have the runway here in case
Yeah,
anything goes
I
wrong.
agree.
Mean we're gonna get 20 applications for this position?
There's gotta be a-
Yeah, I mean, I doubt it, but
Let's
you
remember
know,
that.
Oh,
I'll take the under.
yeah.
So it's the
Way
8th?
under.
What dates?
October 8th, October 14, and October 27.
Okay.
And we all have already said that we're available for those, so.
yep.
Yeah, and the 27th is the only one where all four of you are available in person. So, so
No,
for whatever that
last
I'm
matters.
available.
I think
I'm
14th and the
available
27th were
14th
both.
and the 27th.
I think I'm
Oh, is that right?
I'm in
I
person.
thought, oh, okay.
8th, 14th and 27th?
October 14th,
The
we
8th, I'm
have
gonna be on
all
the phone.
four.
Oh, that's
And
okay.
October
Oh.
27, we have all
27.
four.
The
Okay.
8th, maybe the
Oh,
8th
good.
is the problem.
October 8th,
Okay.
we have three and one phone.
Okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
So
All
one
right.
more question, one more set of questions. As far as the interviews go, now, of course, we don't actually know how many people are going to apply, and this, your answer might depend on that. But the question
Yeah,
is,
that's right.
how long would you like the interviews to go? I mean, my recommendation is that you set 30 minutes, but that if you end up with 100 people applying, we could change that.
30 sounds long to me.
I would agree. I mean,
15,
Okay. Adam?
15 to 20, yeah.
yep, that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Will all the candidate, let's say there's more than one, like there's 2 or 3, will all the candidates be present at the same time? Or-
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
So,
I'm in the same room at the same time.
Well, actually, can you stop them from being in the room?
That's what I said, public. That's why I.
Public meeting, so I don't think you can stop them from being in the room.
It's awkward.
that is awkward. I think
It's not like a
the
debate.
answer is for the interviews, you could. I mean, you could have a rule that though they should wait outside. I mean, I suppose somebody could say, I demand my First Amendment right, blah, blah, blah. But I believe that you would be within your rights to probably say, that will have, we could set up a station outside and they can wait to be interviewed. I think that would be the preferable approach generally, but
Yeah. Yeah, it's a request. I
Yeah.
can't imagine that somebody wants to get votes. And,
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, right,
Yeah,
if
no,
you request to not do it, then we just aren't gonna vote.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's,
to be a quick decision. So I do think that's the preferable approach. There is also, and it's interesting because Marcia did a phenomenal job of pulling together as many examples as we could of various procedures that have been followed. There is an issue, one jurisdiction at least that we looked at did not live stream the interviews because they didn't want other interviewees listening to, the interview. That seems counterintuitive to me from the standpoint of public input. So it's really up to you guys, but I think quite honestly, that live streaming, you know, the public has an interest in knowing what the various interviewees have to say. But those are
They ask questions, right?
Well, I
They-
think good,
Do they?
right?
Does the public get to ask?
well, okay,
We
so
didn't
that's
have-
up to you.
when we
Or is the
hired
list
fire
of
chief,
questions set? Is the list of questions set for all candidates?
So both good questions. So you can have, generally speaking, there's no law on this at all, but generally speaking, it is better to have a fairly set list of questions and ask essentially the same questions, understanding that different members of the board will have different follow-ups, and that's fine. It's a little bit of a better practice to do that because it's just, you know, it's appearance of fairness, right? So I think that is the better approach.
How does voting work? Let's say you have 3 candidates. Does each board member only get 1 vote? Because then you could possibly never come up with a majority.
You can only get 1 vote. It's like voting in anything.
But then-
No, I
Different
think,
candidate and
no, the way it will
majority ever.
work, I mean, I have to,
Okay.
yeah, right choice. Thank you. Yeah. I think the way it would work, but I actually haven't researched this yet, is that there would be a motion. You first of all, you're going to have a conversation, I hope, you know, among yourselves in public, you know, about who you think are the better, stronger candidates, et cetera. Somebody will make a motion that we choose Joe, or maybe that we, because we have 20 applications, that we winnow it down to 3 and then we, whatever, you know, but somebody's going to make a motion, we choose Joe, and then that will either pass or fail. And then if that fails, then.
So it's by motion. Okay.
Yeah, by motion. And then somebody's going to make a motion that it be Sam. And then, so effectively the answer is no, you don't just get 1 vote. It's really whoever gets proposed either wins or doesn't. And then if they don't, then you move to the next candidate. Well, you may have dueling motions, I mean, is the point.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a second to the motion.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I got it.
Yeah.
That's my best. I mean, I haven't really looked at it, but that seems to me.
2 votes just to get
You have to
past
have
0.
votes
right?
to get-
You have 2 votes to even get somebody to up or
And
down.
is it like any motion where if I made a motion to support Joe, do I get to speak on the motion and
Yes,
why I'm choosing to support this person?
yes.
Should we set limits on that?
Okay.
Well, I think that's part of, isn't it really, is it part of the motion or is that part of the discussion ahead of
Discussion.
time?
Probably
At least part
discussion.
of the discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Discussion.
Yeah,
I don't think
discussion.
we need to spend
I mean,
all,
You know, hopefully the discussion will be clarifying before you get to the motion stage. I mean, God willing.
Okay.
okay.
So have we,
And if I might add, the procedures within our rules of procedures outline how you handle each motion.
Okay.
So I don't think
Same.
that would change, that it would be handled just like an agenda item.
Okay. And would you do it all at the same meeting then? Would you?
yes.
You would have the interviews and then once the interviews.
Immediately
because of-
thereafter, everybody gets to just talk about them.
We talk about it as a
Yep.
group.
And, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I hope we have a whole lot of applicants, but my betting is we won't have a huge number,
Okay.
given how many people run on a regular basis, and, you know.
Okay.
Okay, so have we, I don't know whether we haven't voted on anything, but I think the last thing that I know of that we have to think about is approving the special meeting dates and the questions. Do you want to just read through them and we'll talk about them, or what do you want to do?
Happy to do that.
Just as a thought, maybe you should read
Well-
through all of them and then we'll tell you if
We have some speaker cards. Is it going to be the most efficient way to let the speakers talk first? Because that might influence our review of the questions. Or we can do it questions first.
Open comment? You mean open
How many
comment
speakers?
or?
well,
We have 3 speaker cards.
There's
We have
one
one
more that
on
just
this
came in.
item.
One on this end, but two on something else.
and there's a third one or a fourth one that just came in.
I just picked up the speaker cards,
Isn't that,
unless there's
I
another.
don't see very well. Is that not one?
No, that's just a blank piece
Oh,
of paper
sorry.
that says.
Yeah, no, I haven't looked at the speaker cards. I just, if the speaker cards are helping us to inform the board on formulating procedure and questions, it's, I guess, up to the
President.
president. I'm just raising the issue.
Are we done with discussion and are we opening public comment at this point?
I don't think we're necessarily, no, because we're going to discuss
Okay.
the question.
All
We're
right.
not quite done with
Yeah,
discussion.
I was
Then
just
I'm out of
making-
order. Sorry.
That's okay.
So, I mean, do you want me to give you some suggestions about questions
Yeah.
that can
Yes.
Yeah.
be on?
These are questions that are published with the notice, or these are questions for us to ask during the interview?
Part of the
Oh.
application.
Well, these would be published. What I'm recommending right now would be part of the application. So
Okay,
we have
okay.
Because they're going to be, I mean, they're
answers
part of the notes
all-
for this anyway, so.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
They're public
Okay.
already, so we might as well give them to people, right?
yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Unless you want to use that as part of the test. If you can't figure out how to go get it from the public, you don't deserve to have them. I don't know. That's rude.
So Anastasia?
Yes, sir. Give me one quick second. Sorry, I'm just pulling it up. So these are just some suggestions. You take what you want and tell me what you think about each. Why do you want to be on the MOFD board? Why are you qualified to be on the MOFD board? Do you have any objectives for MOFD you want to champion or support? What would you like to change at MOFD? Do you have any conflicts of interest to keep you from being an independent director on the board? Do you have any special skills that will make you especially helpful to the board? Have you ever used MOFD services or had any good or bad experiences with the district? Do you feel you can be an objective, even-handed, independent board member with no outside pressures or loyalties to satisfy? And do you have any affiliations or close personal connections with companies or organizations that do business with or are employed or are employees of MOFD or its mutual aid coordinating agencies?
And each of these they're given an opportunity for a multiple sentence, paragraph or so detailed response. And those are open-ended questions that really get people talking about who they are, why they want to do this. And it allows us the flexibility to ask follow-up questions. I think those are all excellent. I had no quarrel with any of them.
Realizing what did we say, 20 minutes? So they're going to have to talk faster or be.
Well, they're gonna
No,
submit this.
They're gonna submit those
Oh, they're gonna
writing.
They're gonna write answers to these.
Oh, are we going to have
We're
write
gonna have
Part of
answers?
the application, no?
Yeah.
I thought these were I thought we are going to give them out on the application, but are we going to actually expect a written? I thought that's the questions you're going to ask in the meeting.
No, those should be
So
in
what's
writing.
what's the interview then?
We can add,
I mean, we could do those in the interview and we could ask more specific questions in the application. We could narrow those to, so I mean, what other applicants, I've looked at several different applications and what we've so far combined is something a little bit more general, asking about experience and community involvement. Have you previously served on a public agency board? Please describe your current or previous involvement with local, civic, community service, or volunteer organizations. Please indicate any areas in which you have education, training, professional experience, volunteer experience, or other demonstrated involvement. That could be a check all that apply. Please describe the professional, educational, public service, volunteer, or other experience you believe would be most relevant to serving on the board. Explain your interest in serving on the board. Why are you interested in being appointed? What are the 3 things that the district is doing well and 3 areas where you believe the district could improve? What would you hope to accomplish during the remainder of the appointed term? Please describe your approach to working with other board members when you disagree on an issue or policy decision. Are you able to attend regular and special board meetings, including evening meetings, and devote the time necessary to review board materials and prepare for meetings? I also recommend we ask for some references. Oh, yes.
the reason that I like your original questions is they're open-ended. If you want to learn about a particular person, you ask a question that stimulates their thought. and their motivation. And I think that you did that with those original questions. I think the more that you focus on, give me a fact about your background or give me a policy.
It looks like a resume all of a sudden. Just let them write a resume.
Is what?
I think most of the rest of those questions, the second group, looked like a resume, which is
Yes.
sort of more facts than it is.
It is. And that's not
impressions.
what I think is going to be helpful to us. We're going to get the resume. We're going to get the facts. What we want is a written response that gives us an idea of who these people are and what they will contribute to the board. And I think that your questions have done a good job of doing that.
So this is me, baby. I'm gonna have a different candidate of thought here. But I like the idea of the 400 word candidate statement, right? Tell me your elevator pitch as to why you should be on the board. And then these questions, we should determine what we will ask of them. And the reason I say that is that list of questions is so long and so open-ended. It's like, are you applying to be a member of Congress? Because when you go down to apply to just be on the ballot for this, you don't answer those questions, right? And I think our job is to try and get as many people in the door to apply. Apply is the wrong word, I know, but to step up to volunteer. And if I had a list of 20 questions I had to answer on top of writing a 400 word essay on myself, and appear at the board, that discourages people from participation.
Really? I think the
I
problem
thought
with okay, so if there's just going to be a 400 word essay, we should addend another question to the end of that, which says, did you use artificial intelligence in writing this question? And if not, why not? Or something like that, because that's the danger that we face it in the schools.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll confess, I use artificial intelligence all the time. There's a great article in the New York Times by Brett Stevens that said, do not write with AI. What you want to do is to get people thinking. So I want our applicants, whether it's their answers to these questions or a 400 word essay, at the end of it, I want to say, or at the beginning of it, say, use AI if you want, but tell us that you did, if you did do that.
Yeah.
Because I want to know whether I'm
We're asking
doing
the
a
questions.
plot.
If somebody's appearing in front of me, they're not using AI.
Well, I guess that's another way to think about it is if we're going to have 20, however long we're going to have, 20 minutes, call it, to interview the people, what else? You've asked 90% of what I can imagine asking anyway. So I was thinking that the questions, that first group or whatever group, especially the first group, I would say, were things you were going to ask them in person and make them kind of be, they can know what the questions are in advance, but at least they have to articulate them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and then they're asking them live versus
Right.
written. Like you said, if somebody's talking to me live and they've put all the questions into AI and have memorized them all, man, great.
I think some of the questions in kind of the second group, we should get out of the way earlier, like conflict of interest. Because when you run for office, you have to fill out a conflict of interest form already. I think we should ask, not only conflict of interest, do you have anyone in MOFD who's, related? I don't know how, you said something about family, friends, I don't know. Maybe not friends, because certainly people, but do you have family or economic interest with a vendor who does business with us? I think we should get those kind of out of the way.
So we don't have to spend our 20 minutes doing
Yeah,
those.
so we don't have to ask.
We don't have
Right.
Those are the
Exactly.
Those are the application questions,
Yeah, I think that
right?
should be application, those those few that can
But
get.
the other ones are interview questions, right?
And someone, when we get applications, probably Marcia, is gonna have to verify when someone says their address, you're gonna have to make sure that they really are at that address, I guess.
Yes.
well, there are voter databases about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somehow.
I'm sorry, I have a hard time hearing.
There are voter databases that will tell you
Oh,
that,
yes.
but I suppose you could always.
But you'd have to like some copy your driver's license or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
You know
that.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So can we winnow down the questions? Because there are, I mean, I agree completely with what's being said. There are some questions that do feel like they should go on the application, like, do you have any conflicts of interest? Those kinds of questions. And then some of these broader open-ended questions sound like they're very well suited for the interview. And I'm just trying to figure out how to get from here to there in this meeting. So Anastasia, maybe if you, I don't know, do you have a document you could put up on the screen or send to Marcia to put up on the screen of the first set of questions?
Can I make a leap of faith? I trust Anastasia. If she's listened to us for half an hour, I think she's going to do a good job. We just need to get this process rolling. And it's not going to be perfect. We don't expect it to be perfect.
Will these be published, right? The ones we're talking about now, will those be published in the?
Yeah.
Or will we say, we have an open position, go to this website to apply?
Yes.
And that will have the list of questions in it. Those won't necessarily go if we do it in the Moraga-Orinda Weekly or whatever, publish a notice. They won't necessarily be there, right?
No, the notice will say, we have this vacancy, here are the, candidacy qualifications, those 4 that we talked about, a deadline to apply, and here's how to apply, and it will be online.
And it'll be like a link to the MOFD website.
It will be a link, correct.
Okay.
A PDF application for them.
They will then fill out the PDF that then will come to all of us as a packet, and then they will apply. Sorry to go, this is procedural, but they will apply, and then we give them 15 days to apply, and then we have to verify all this information, right?
There'll be a deadline for them to apply, and whatever that 15-day mark is. And it will go through our NeoGov software where our employment applications go through, which automatically accepts and date stamps those applications.
And then you verify, will somebody in the district verify? Like somebody has to verify their address, somebody has to verify,
So
I guess the address at least, that they're in the district.
You know, the elections board does it for us.
They do it for us, right? They hold it
I
for a
wonder if
day
they
and
would have, does they have to do it? I mean, presumably this person was going to want, or we're going to want them to run, him or her to run for reelection.
So there's a process within the elective guide that comes from the county to special districts. And within that process, there's a process for that verification.
So
You can verify that they're
You can
registered.
do that. You can be in charge of doing that.
Yeah, so I would do that.
Lucky you.
I would
Okay.
look into doing that. When they apply, when they apply, I would recommend that they say, yes, I'm this, yes, I'm a citizen, yes, I'm not a felon.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then at the end of the process, they certify that this is true, what they're saying.
Right.
And then based on that, when those things come in, we verify that they are within that district,
With the elections commission,
with the county.
with the county. So we have to ask them permission to access county.
There's a link.
Link for that.
We should,
Okay.
we should make sure that we have a map so they know that they're really in that division.
Well, that's a good point too.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
The District 2 map should be published
Yeah,
with,
there've been changes, very subtle changes, but I already am aware of some people who were in my division 4 years ago that are not in my division now. And I just found that out yesterday.
Really? How do they do
And
that?
those maps
We
are
did- we
published on our website.
We changed the.
4 years ago?
They are. You have to really blow them up and look
Yeah, but he
carefully.
was- Yeah, So he has only been around 4 years. So how can
And
we
so you
change?
can put
And
your
you might not know
address.
that until.
Well,
you
but there,
get the
there
vote
can't be
list.
changes. Mike, there can't be changes because we would have had to approve them.
Well, we did approve them,
Oh,
but basically we're saying, yeah, we need to keep 5,779 people in each division.
Is that
So
4 years
we did
ago?
it-
I know.
Somebody
We did it in
does that, does the map.
The last time the maps were done was during the census, and that was back in 2022,
2022.
something.
Oh,
like
so that would have been-
That was the only.
Oh, but that should have been when you were, oh, maybe not.
That was the only time that those.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I know of some voters who
Okay.
were voting for me last time that are not on the rolls this time.
Okay, great. Okay.
So beware.
Okay, well, we'll require their address and proof of residency, and we'll verify.
well, we should publish the map so they know.
Yeah,
You
you
should
should.
publish the
you
map
should
with the notice.
Make sure
Just
that you guys are
feel good.
communicating on any recent updates on the maps. Is that if they're living on one side of La Cuesta or whatever, anyway.
Yeah.
It's an
It's like,
interesting.
I think District Two is totally within Moraga. Is
Yes.
that correct? So it's only Moraga. So I think if we state only in Moraga and
Okay, that's a good point.
then
Haven't been as.
within
good as
Moraga,
we were in
there's,
Division 4.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what have we, do we,
I don't think we have the questions yet.
yeah, sure.
Well, so Director Romer was suggesting to give us discretion based on the questions we sort of laid out. It sounds like a lot of those first questions would really go in the interview, but the ones that are potentially disqualifying, as it were, would go in the application. So there, do you have a conflict of interest? Do you, those kinds of questions? Does that make sense as a general guideline, or do you want to go through question by question, which we can do?
I think the general is, we can be here for past midnight if we want to have a
Because
committee.
these are just qualifications to be considered, right? So no conflicts of interest, no felonies, no.
Right.
Right.
Well, but you want to give them enough questions. And to your point, we don't want to overwhelm them with questions, but if we're asking for somebody to be on board to read 600 pages of packet every month, filling out 7 questions is not going to be.
Right. So we're going to ask for a 400-word statement. I mean, can we say, here's your, submit a 400-word statement, why you are applying to be on our board?
It looks like I would say it could look like a candidate statement, and you could put whatever you want to in the candidate statement.
But I think we should have some in it.
Right.
Tell us your background. Yeah.
Tell us.
Just what do you, what does, just like a candidate statement, what do you think is important to tell us, that you want to tell us that, that we're going to read ahead of? I don't know. I mean.
Yeah.
You just give us.
But 400 words is digestible for us
Or you
too.
just say statement to introduce yourself and what, tell us why you want to be, or.
Well, just realize that there's also going to be the questions later on that are going to ask some of this, hopefully be a little bit redundant or whatever, but they might want to tell us more about their family background or something, or how involved they've been in sports, or I don't care, whatever it is.
Well, I like the idea of finding out, or maybe we ask that when they're here, what kind of a community involvement that they've had, in Moraga. Or in the area. It doesn't have to be Moraga, but what have you done what other volunteer activities have you done?
Well, would you suggest saying in your statement, consider the following: your qualifications for being on the board, why you want to be on the board, what you've done in the community in the past, what special skills you might have for it. Just give them some guide. These aren't questions you have to answer, but just consider these things as you're writing it, so that I always call it an elevator speech, right? If you had an elevator ride to tell me.
But I will say that, the whole community involvement stuff, you got to start someplace,
Yeah.
So.
But like I've lived in Moraga for 20 years and my kids have gone to school here and I've been involved. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, so I like that idea. So I think what you could do is it's a 400-word statement, and we sort of just list a potential sort of prompts below it. Consider, these
could include
list. Could include or something, right? You may wish to include, some or all of the following, and then we just list those things.
Because we might not know these people, and it just helps us to have a feel for who they are.
Okay, does that, Marcia, does that seem logical to you? Because she's the one who's really researched how everybody else has handled this.
I think that seems logical to me.
Great.
Okay.
We're happy to handle that.
Do we need to vote on some of this? Because
You do need to vote on.
You're going to have to vote on all of it, but I think you better take public
Yeah.
comment first, and then while they're taking public comment, Anastasia and I will attempt to frame up a motion.
Okay.
Okay. So now, Marcia, you said there was some public comment?
Yes.
And one other thing I see, I'm just reading under C here. The board may also limit the amount of time allocated for public testimony on this item.
What's testimony mean?
Just public comment.
Okay.
So the issue is, we think the best way to approach this, but let's talk about it because you might have a different view, is all the interviews go forth first. And then before you vote, again, similarly to how we would handle it in any other situation, we take public comment because you don't really want people popping up and commenting on individuals. I mean, they might have comments on the individuals, but I think you want all the interviews to go forward. And then before you take action, take public comment as we normally would.
Okay.
I could foresee somebody from the public maybe having a question specifically for one of the interviewees. Maybe they're against that person, maybe they know that person, and I just wonder how fair that would be to just direct it towards that one person. If someone asks a question, if it would have to be addressed to all the candidates.
I don't think it would be fair. And I think the right way to do it is not to allow, I mean, and I don't mean to be cutting off the public comment here, but I don't think it really is appropriate for them to ask questions directly to the individual.
Okay.
Yeah, I think actually our rules say that you can, and so does Robert's Rule of Order, people cannot address people other than people on the board. As a matter of fact, I don't think you can actually address individuals on the board. I think you can only address the board as the board.
Okay, so
That's just a general, so.
Yeah.
And
that'd be my recommendation. I think otherwise, it could get ugly, and doesn't seem fair to whoever it is who gets potentially attacked.
I'm just thinking, if it was me applying, I would probably fill this place with all my friends and family.
Right. Yeah.
All to fill out a card and go up there and say, you should
how great George is,
You
yeah.
should appoint,
Yeah.
because he's best ever.
Yeah.
And people are probably gonna do
Yes.
that. We're gonna have their family and friends come in
Yeah.
and say, this person is great, they coach my kid, they
Yeah.
school, they,
And I guess the
so
question is, can we limit?
yeah, we can limit.
Well, but you can limit it to a small amount of time, but you can't limit the fact that there are 300 people, right?
Make one.
That's right.
So now it's interesting, I'll ask a question of the lawyers. So when we interviewed for the one Winokur, for example, there was zero public interaction with him before we agreed to have him as the chief. None. So why is this something special that we have to have public input?
Well, when we appointed him chief, I'd have to go back and look, but I'm certain because there was a motion, there should have been a motion to approve his contract, et cetera.
Oh, sure.
And there should have been public comment, but it shouldn't be any different. It should just be that each person gets either 2 or 3 minutes, public comment at the end of when we've, done the interviews, before you make the actual appointment. And, you can't control what people say. They're going to say what they're going to say, but it's, as usual, you don't have to respond, and they can't really ask the individual candidates anything.
But this is after all candidates have gone. And
That's
it's
right.
A statement. Okay. I mean.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna live with what we gotta live with. It's fine. Okay.
It's,
Yeah.
you have 100.
You have to take public comment. There's no alternative.
But once again, the public comment is directed towards us as a board who's considering the candidates.
Exactly.
That's
So,
right.
like you said, I like Steve because he's done this and this
People are
and
gonna
this and
say,
this.
board, I think you should appoint so-and-so.
Because, yeah,
Yep.
it's not, oh, I have a question
Right,
for.
okay, got it.
Yeah. I mean, that part for, people have a right to say what they're going to say on that, but again, it's not directed at any one individual.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Right.
That's fair.
And so we will go ahead and open public comment. And so I'd like to invite Anthony Stevens to the podium with local 1230.
Hey, good evening, board, members of the public. First and foremost, I would also like to echo and thank John Jex for his years of service on the fire board. We recognize the challenges that it takes and the time away from the family and the responsibility that it takes. So well wishes to John and his family. I do call into question though, how we are here today, just conveniently post the election cycle deadline and how it is so surprising that John has receded from the board. He's had less than a 50% attendance rate since the beginning of this year. I question if there's been any communication or conversation with the board, other board members to plan that. I also question, since it wasn't in the packet, when that letter was submitted. I heard it was on the 11th, but there's no public letter. When it was received by the district, did it sit around? Did it conveniently miss the deadline for the election process? And Marcia gave a good presentation on the election process, the cycle, and the costs associated with that. It's sad that we were just a week past the election process, circumventing the democratic due process of allowing the community members to be able to go through the election cycle. And I wouldn't suggest those increased costs now at this point. I do suggest, when we talk about the ad hoc committees, to at least consider possibly a third party neutral community member on that board, or that's helping make the decision process. Especially, and I think the difference of some of the community input that was raising a question by the president is the timing of this. I know that there was a discussion about the hiring of a previous fire chief, but with such a narrow window of that election process for transparency, I do suggest that members of the public have a full transparent process of electing or appointing the new individual that we serve in John's seat. With that, I succeed my time. Thank you.
And I'm checking to see if we have any hands raised. And we do not have any more public comment on this item. And so now we can move on to the motion.
Could I just make a quick comment? I wanted to thank Anthony Stevens for your comments. I understand your perspective. I think it sounds like a good idea to add another neutral party to the board. I don't think we could legally do that.
Right.
I'm pretty sure of that. I don't think we need a legal opinion on that, but I just don't want to make sure that it's a good idea, but like many things that we're constrained by Brown Act and the Constitution and the law, I can't imagine that we'd be allowed to do that. And it would, if we even tried, it would invalidate the process. So that's all I got to say.
Did you guys come up with anything while we were debating?
I'm waiting.
As to a motion?
I have
Yeah.
some proposed language, but.
Okay,
I
if
have
you
better.
propose,
good.
and I'll try to listen.
John, do you want me to go ahead and?
Yeah, please.
Oh, okay, okay. So my proposed motion, and I would appreciate perhaps some input if I'm missing any elements of this. A motion to appoint a candidate to fill the Division II vacancy, post notice and application as soon as practicable, and establish the following 3 dates to interview and take final action.
This is Director Romer. I so move.
Before we do a second, guys, can I ask a clarifying?
Absolutely.
Do we need at this point to talk at all about time limits? How long the application process will be open? Even for the interviews, how long the interviews would be, anything like that, anything else on the process?
I think we should.
Well, I think we did, and to the extent that we sort of created direction on that.
Well, I know we're supposed to vote on your proposal, but That's the.
I take that as just a request to clarify the.
Yeah, I just
I
want to
see.
see.
No, look, yeah, we're not, this isn't about, this is not a motion yet, so you can do whatever you want with it. There's no rules. But let me add,
Yeah,
let me take Anastasia's and just add that the application process would be open for 15 days. That the application will include a 400 word, I'll call it a candidate statement or whatever, statement, I guess it's called a statement. That all interviews will be conducted in public by the full board.
In person. In person.
In person, in public by the full board.
They're in person.
They're in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're in person. Maybe you may or may not be. I'm sorry. What did I leave out, Director Danziger? You had a couple of good points.
any time limits on the interview itself, like 20 minutes we kind of talked about,
I think that's a good idea.
or
20 minutes.
the public?
I think we should set a date for when this should be posted. I mean,
Well, Friday, how's that?
I think it should be, the date should be set by the board. So it should be posted and 15 days from that date is when it
They're done.
ends.
Yep.
But I thought you said that you could post this on Friday and it would be 15.
Yeah, it just wasn't part of the
Motion.
Okay.
Motion. Yeah.
So let's say posted. Marcia, are you okay with Friday?
Yes.
Okay, so post on Friday, and then we'll calculate the days, but it'll be 15 days later that the application period will close. The interviews will be 20 minutes, or at least that's a guideline for the interview period, because I want to be a little careful about, not having somebody say, "Oh, you give them 21 minutes." What else?
Public comment.
What about time allotted for the public to have input after the interviews?
Okay, it's public after interviews, public comment will will be our normal. I think it should be our normal limit, which is 3 minutes, right? Does that anybody have an objection?
I think we should.
Maybe less.
Yeah, if 100 people show up, we're going to have to make it a lot less.
Well, how about this? Why don't we say 3 minutes, but subject to change,
depending on
how
If the person that night or something, we can.
Yeah.
That night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
Just one other complication that I hadn't actually thought of is, it's great that all four of us are going to be able to be here or be, available, but we also have to get the candidates available on those particular dates. And, so, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Could a candidate Zoom in or no? Does it have to be here?
Yeah, why not? Why not let it, we can Zoom in. Why can't we let them Zoom in? Because I'm just saying that would be.
You can?
Okay. We can let them Zoom in to meet the dates, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Can we say this? Can we say that in person is preferred?
Absolutely.
Yes.
But they would think so too, but.
Yeah.
But what if somebody's gone for the month of October?
No, you don't want to lose somebody good just because they're in someplace else. But I think to say in person is preferred, but Zoom is available or something like that.
Yep. Are those the variables we needed to think about?
Marcia, anything we're missing?
Yep.
How about the time of the meeting on October 8th?
The time is to be determined because I still need to reserve
Okay,
a place.
got it. Okay.
So we'll just need flexibility, but it
don't
will
need
be
that
in
now.
the evening at some
Okay.
point.
All right.
Anything else? And then I'm going to have ask Anastasia to read the whole thing back again.
All right, this is.
So Marcia, you have a recording of this too, right?
I do.
Okay.
This is Director Romer attempting to make the most complex motion ever made in my career. Seriously, this is Director Romer. I will move that to incorporate by reference each of council's statements and as well as the amendments made by the various board members, including Director Danziger and Director Jorgens and Director Hassler, to establish the procedure and timeline, the nature of the questions, the dates of October 8th, 14th, and 27th for establishing the procedure for the Moraga-Orinda Fire Protection Board of Directors to interview candidates and choose a replacement for Director John Jex.
Great.
I'll second that.
I actually have
Oh.
to, I think we need to not include the intervening comments by the board members. My advice would be to move to accept the motion that council presented.
This is Director Homer restating my motion. I will make a motion to establish the procedure, the timelines, and the deadlines, including and incorporate by reference council's statements guided by the board, but not incorporate by reference the board's comments for the procedure to replace Director John Jex. Is that work?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think we have enough guidance here, but I don't know, Marcia, what's your view? I mean, we can go through
Well, I think
the things.
I'm not sure whether he said the 20 minutes or you said the 20 minutes, but yeah, I think there are a couple little tweaks in there that.
Let's do this. Let me get a shot at this. Let's take a shot at
Am I
this.
allowed to attempt to suggest? some-
Please.
Marshall, please, thank you.
Yes.
So what I had heard was that the board would motion to appoint to fill the vacancy. They would like the notice of the vacancy to be posted on August 21, 2026 for a 15-day period for the applications to be submitted, which calculates to me approximately around September 5. The interviews will be 20 minutes long. The 3-minute public comment will be allowed, subject to change. In-person interviews are preferred, but hybrid option is, remote option is allowed. There are 3 dates that the special meetings will be. The first one will be on October 8. If additional ones are needed after that, it will be October 14 and October 27 in the evening.
Director Romer so moves, incorporating by reference Marcia's comments.
I think I forgot the 400-word statement.
400 words, yeah.
No, I got that one too.
Yeah.
I thought I heard not this Friday, next Friday,
this
Friday, August 21. That is
that's
this-
21?
21.
Oh, 21, okay.
Yeah,
That's
I think
this
it's
Friday.
That's my here.
Through September 5th, through September
Gotcha.
5th, I think is the closing date.
Yeah, I guess the one other thing, which unfortunately is going to have to be a little squishy, is that the board is delegating to council to craft, the questions other to the extent they exist on the application, and to recommend questions that be asked in the interviews.
Correct.
Yes.
Subject to review by the board.
Well, yeah, for sure. Just, recommend was the point, and clearly.
But this is when we get to review them.
Yeah.
Whether meeting we get to do it in.
So-
The application's going out now.
Yeah.
And all the questions are, so there won't be a time to review it.
No, that's true.
No.
But the list of questions, will the list of questions for the interview go out with the application?
No, we'll provide that to you, and and obviously you can, at the very beginning of that meeting, the first meeting, you can look at all the questions and say, okay, we're going to agree to ask the following ones, or the following additional ones, or whatever you want to do before you have your first interviewee. So what we should do is give you guys a half an hour or 20 minutes or whatever before the first interview so that you can set up your, specifics of that procedure.
And that's in an open meeting, correct?
It is, yes, that's an open meeting. So, I mean, there's not going to be a lot of secrecy in what questions you're going to be asking.
So do I hear a second?
And does that motion need to be amended to include that change?
I think it should, Marcia. I think you should have that.
Moves to amend that to incorporate by reference the additional remarks by council and by Marcia.
I'll second that.
Now we can have a vote.
Now we have public comment again, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Director Hassler,
Aye.
Director Romer,
Aye.
Vice President Danziger.
Aye.
And President Jorgens.
Aye. Motion passes.
All right.
On to the next one.
That was the first.
On to
time.
the next item. I do, President Jorgens, and part of the public comments that came in, one public comment that I had missed earlier was on an item that is not on the agenda. And so if it is okay to accept that public comment, if Jacob, if you still wanted to comment, okay. So he does not want to comment on that.
Okay.
Okay, next item is item 11.2. This is to waive the second reading and adopt ordinance 2606, amending our purchasing ordinance.
Good evening, directors. Back in April, we amended the district ordinance 2605 to permit the district to utilize design bid and progressive design bid build methods, public contracting. We came back to the board with some changes to add the Uniform Public Construction Cost Accounting Act. And we brought that forward with the reasons why in the last meeting. This is the second reading of that to waive the second reading and adopt the ordinance. Staff is happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay. Nope.
Okay, so we can open public comment on this item. We do not have any in-person or remote public comment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Waive the second.
wait, I don't know if do I need?
You want me to make
I
it?
need-
Say approve item.
I'll waive the second reading and adopt ordinance 26-06.
There you go.
How's that?
I'll second that.
Director Hassler,
Aye.
Director Romer.
Aye.
Vice President Dan.
Aye.
President Jorgens.
Aye. The motion passes.
Item 11.3, authorize execution of change order number 1 for the BME Type 3 fire engine.
Good evening, directors. This item before you is to accept a couple change orders for our type 3 fire engine that's under construction. I'd like to talk first about one of the type 1 fire engines that's in the staff report. There was a change order that was approved because it reduced the overall cost of our type 1 engine by $84,000. I approved that one because it did not go over the approved amount by the board, but wanted to bring that forward to let you know that we did that. The second change order is for our type 3 fire engine. And what happens in this process is our committee goes and they sit down with the manufacturer. They start going through every compartment, every nut and bolt on the fire engine, and they see, oh, we didn't think about this, or something changed and we need to make some change orders. So staff is requesting to make a change order on the type 3 that would increase the cost by $21,055.63. So that would be an increase to what the original cost was that the board approved. Some of those changes are under the cab storage slide tray, additional pump panel, different wheel ceramic tinted rear cab windows, rear cab console installation, lighting, control revisions, wheel chock mounting system, hose reel accessories and hose pack, miscellaneous specifications and clarifications on production refinements. And this is the first one. There could potentially be more change orders that we come back to the board for. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
I have a question, not so much on the change orders, but just on the availability of these type of apparatus. I know we've been experiencing extensive delays in getting our apparatus, and nationwide, I know it's an issue. Any updates on that whole issue? Or-
Yeah, no, sir, no updates. Still expecting the delays and the timeframes that were originally brought forward to the board when we sought permission to make the purchases.
So do these change orders further delay anything, or we're already
No,
years out?
we're in the process where we can make those change
Okay.
orders without causing any additional delays.
All right.
You said it's actually in construction. Is it actually in construction or is it just in the planning phase?
Captain Gregorovic, you're on the committee. Can you answer that one for me? And I could have misspoke on that, sir. This could have been in the planning phases.
Just repeat the question for me so I can
Well, I
answer.
just want, because I know these things have been delayed and delayed and delayed. Is it actually being built or is this just?
So since since you guys approved the purchase order, they put in that 2 to 3 year cycle based on the type 1 and type 3s are a different manufacturer, so their lead times are different. That being said, once we get to about the 6-month mark of it starting, that's when the manufacturer comes out to us. We go through line by line, every nut, bolt, light, everything that's associated with it, and are able to make the MOFD way how our apparatus is currently set up fit this build. So once we're doing that, once we finalize it, it'll start construction. So we are in the queue. They won't essentially come talk to us until we're in the queue ready to start building, which hopefully is in the next 6 months with the type 3. Our type 1s should be starting any week now.
Great. That's good news.
Any other questions?
Finally come, huh? Yeah.
Hey, just curious, where are these being constructed?
The type 1s are at Pierce and they're in Appleton, Wisconsin. And the BME is Boise Mobile Equipment, and that's actually in Boise, Idaho.
Oh.
Nothing, I'm still on the
The
meeting.
BME we're getting
I'm
now,
still in the meeting.
a couple of reasons for the changes is we're currently at Pierce type 3s, which is the off-road wildland units. And we're actually getting BME, so the compartmentation is a little bit different, which why some of these change orders arose. We kind of had to move stuff how we do it now to fit the current manufacturer we're using.
Great.
Great, thanks.
Any other questions?
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So do I hear a motion?
We need to open public
Oh,
comment.
sorry. Yeah.
We do not have any hands raised or in-person public comment.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to authorize execution of change order as in 11.3.
I'll second.
Director Hassler?
Aye.
Director Romer?
Aye.
Vice President Danziger?
Aye.
President Jorgens?
Aye. The motion passes.
Item 9.4, receive update on the Station 44 water leak.
Good evening, directors. On July 12th, 2026, personnel assigned to Station 44 discovered evidence of a water leak beneath the kitchen island in the sink area there. District staff immediately retained a licensed plumbing contractor to investigate and mitigate the leak. Initial troubleshooting was unable to identify the source, requiring contractor to engage a specialized leak detection subcontractor. It was a process that extended for several days to identify where the leak was and to get it mitigated. We were able to do that. This fell under the emergency portion of our purchasing guidelines, so it allowed us to immediately go in there, find the leak and make the repairs without coming to the board to ask for permission on it because we didn't want to put the fire station out of service. There was, I think, one night where staff did move to Station 45, but all the other nights during the construction, staff stayed there and kept the station in service. So as part of our district policies and process, we're required to come report to the board on the cost to fix it and just kind of what initiated. Chief Lambert was here in the district. I was on vacation when this happened. He was in constant contact with me. We were in contact with Glorianne to make sure we were following all the purchasing guidelines. The emergency repair cost was $47,632.31. So this is just an advisement to the board that we spent that additional funds that we did not plan for.
So how long ago was the building built?
Ooh,
This is 41.
I would have to look for that information, sir. I don't have that off the top of my head.
I assume if it was in the last, 10 years for contractors, that the contractor has to come make it good.
Okay.
Oh,
2004.
long time ago. Okay. We should at least check what the law is regarding contractor liability, because it seems to me I saw concrete getting cut and all kinds of things. So it was a buried, an enclosed pipe of some kind, which,
Yes, sir. I will work with this.
but I'm pretty sure that when it's things like that are construction defects, that it's a long tail on that contract. Okay.
I hate to do this, but we need to go back quickly to item 11.2. The board adopted the ordinance, but I'm sorry, but I missed the fact that there was a second item that's in that item, which was to by resolution establish procedures. And you'll see that's attachment C. Was it? Well, yes, it is attachment C. I don't know, Jim, are you on as well?
Yes, I am. So the part that was missed is adopting resolution number 26-09, which is electing to become subject to the Uniform Construction Cost Accounting procedures. The other resolutions that are referenced are merely parts of the ordinance. It gives the board the authority to do certain things by resolution.
Okay, can we correct that if we make a new motion, read the entire paragraph of 11.2 and re-vote on it?
Why don't we just say paragraph 11.2?
Well, that's what we did the first time.
We did, then we're done.
So my recommendation is there was a motion, as I heard the motion, it was to waive the second reading and adopt the ordinance.
Yes.
A motion now to adopt resolution 26-09 would cure the issue.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to do that?
All right, this is Director Romer. In addition to the motion, the partial passage of 11.2 by waiving the second reading and adopting ordinance number 26.06, we will also move, or I move now that we adopt resolution number 26-09, electing to become subject to the Uniform Construction Cost Accounting procedures as stated in the entirety of the language of 11.2. Does that satisfy our needs?
Yes,
I think it does. It does. But we should take public comment again.
Okay.
So we will open public comment on the resolution 2609. We do not have any public comment or hands raised.
I'll second.
I will take a board vote. Director Hassler?
Aye.
Director Romer,
Aye.
Vice President Danziger,
Aye.
and President Jorgens.
Aye. The motion passes.
Great,
Thank you
thank
very
you. I'm
much.
sorry about that.
Good catch. So did we? Yeah, nothing, just, that was
we're at
just
11.
information. Oh, yeah, and we didn't have any comments. So now we're on the last one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we opened public comment for 11.4. So I would just like to reconfirm if there's any public comment for item 11.4 on the water leak. And we do not have public comment. Would we like to move on to 11.5?
Director Jarvis?
Please.
We don't need a motion on 11.4.
We do not.
So we'll just move on to
11.5, yep.
Okay, 11.5, receive update on the single role program.
Good evening, directors. Item 11.5 is to receive an update on the single role program. What I've done is added a couple things in here. So we had a director ask for an update to the single role program. We also had a director ask for update to the cost of the single role program. So I combined those two requests and just want to kind of go through where the single role program is as of to date. So both Medic 45 and Medic 41 are staffed 24/7 with a single role paramedic and a single role EMT. If you remember, we brought the program online at Station 45 on December 16th with Medic 45 after going through initial hiring process. As part of the process of holding the interviews, hiring the people, we realized that there was a need to overstaff by one EMT and one paramedic. And that was discussed previously. And so we're currently doing that. Instead of 6 paramedics, we have 7 paramedics. Instead of 6 EMTs, we have 7 EMTs. And that's, we're going through the last hiring right now for those last 2 positions. The plan is to keep Medic 41 and 45 staff for this fiscal year and to not staff the BLS ambulances that are outlined in the MOU. We wanted to kind of stabilize, learn the things that we need to learn from this transition, let the dust settle and see if we're able to maintain the staffing. One of the concerns we have is we have some very highly qualified EMTs that are in paramedic school, and once they finish their medic school, they're going to want to go on. There's opportunity for some of our single role paramedics to go on to other fire agencies and get jobs as firefighter paramedics. So we want to kind of see if we can stabilize with our workforce and make sure we're not in a constant process of hiring. So that's why we've decided not to hire the additional EMTs this fiscal year and staff the BLS ambulances. On July 2nd of 26, we were able to transition from firefighter paramedics on Medic 41 to our single role staff. And as I said, both ambulances are now staffed 24/7 with the single role personnel. We are working through some challenges here and there with some of the staff, making sure, we're getting them the good quality training that they need. They're integrating with our fire folks, our captains, our supervisors. Everybody at the fire station has been wonderful, has welcomed the single role staff in, made them part of the family, and is helping this program be successful and train the staff that needs to be trained. And this is a opportunity for the single role staff. There are some of them that want to go on to careers in the fire service, and they're stepping up to the plate. This is an evaluation period that staff has to look at them and identify individuals that we would love to see be firefighter paramedics for us. The other portion that I talked about that I did with the staff report was to show the cost. And what I did was take the cost today of our 7 EMTs, our 7 paramedics, our ambulance supervisor, not what the MOU position showed. I also took the cost of where our operations staff is, because part of the transition to single role was to go from 17, a daily staffing of 17 firefighters down to 15 firefighters. Well, we're at a daily staffing of 16. We have 3 individuals in relief positions. Those positions will we'll lose the relief positions and end up at the 15 as retirements happen in the next, probably year, 18 months, 24 months. So we will eventually get to that 15 daily staffing number. But what I wanted to do with the numbers was to show what we are right now today with our current staffing. And then one of the other questions that comes up is, well, what does 19 look like? What would, if we wanted to transition back to firefighters, what is that number? We put that number in there as well with how many firefighters we'd have to hire and what that additional cost is. That concludes my staff report. Happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Go ahead.
I just have a couple of questions. I was actually surprised when I saw the differential between the single role and staffing with firefighter paramedics. It's having just under $2.6 million difference. I was surprised that it was so high. And just in looking at the numbers, it seemed, I just have a couple of questions about how the numbers were arrived. So for the single role, I just want to point out that they're all at, they just were hired, so they're all at the lowest step. And what about, it seems that the single role, the cost for them was calculated as a 40-hour week, but don't they work 56? And so I think that would.
Yes, sir. That was highlighted. We found that out. We did when we calculated it, we did their base salary at a 40-hour because they're a 40-hour employee. They do work a 56-hour work week, so they have built into their schedule 16 hours of overtime, and that was an oversight that we missed.
Okay, so maybe for next time, if we can just get it corrected, because I think it's going to bring it a little, it's not going to make a giant difference, but it will make some. And also, I just want to point out that the cost of the firefighter paramedics is slightly inflated because the cost of unfunded liability is in the firefighters' cost as well, right?
Yes, sir. The rate we get from Cesara, the 86.23 or whatever that percentage is, it has that unfunded liability costs, UAAL, I think it's designated as.
Right. So, in looking at those numbers, somebody would say, oh, we're saving, 2 point something, whatever it is, $2.6 million or something, but it's not really that much. It's besides the overtime piece, the unfunded, if you took out the unfunded liability piece,
But
it would be
that's
close.
cash.
Well, yes, it's cash, but
Cash is cash, that's a cost.
Sir, I looked at it. If I went to a store and grabbed a firefighter, what is the cost of that firefighter put on there? That is the cost. Whether we like it, we disagree with how that number was come up with, that is the facts. That is the cost that we're going to have to pay for that position. And that is the cost of the safety retirement. If we look at the cost of the non-safety employees, significantly different. And that's, I don't like it. But it is, if we choose to grab that position, that, a firefighter, paramedic, that is what we're going to have to pay for that firefighter, paramedic.
Another way to say that is.
Understand. I just wanted to bring it up that was included. Just
Yes,
for
sir.
the public who may be listening to, that's included in there. And that's going to be there for I don't know for how much longer, if somebody, Glorianne probably knows, another 15 years or so, but whatever that number.
We did look
is,
at the numbers, and I think they climb the next 2 years, then we start to see a decrease in that percentage,
Yeah.
the Cesara rates.
So the one thing that comes to my mind too is, we talk a lot about fire prevention and this severity of our district. I mean, we're going to have new state regulations that may affect our whole district eventually. We're putting a lot of money towards programs, fire prevention programs, the $500,000 we put for, gutter guards and vents, and we're doing the shaded fuel break. With the savings we're having by having single role, I just think at some point down the line, it may be worth it for the board to discuss putting back into hiring some more firefighter paramedics. Possibly even, this is just me thinking aloud here in front of the board, and not going to be around that much longer on the board, so I'm going to do that. Might want to think about putting a fourth person on the truck or adding a fourth to an engine, which they have in some other places. I just think I think it makes a difference to the staffing here in our district to go from 17 a day to 15 a day. And I think it's just something that I'm just going to put out there that, down the line, our budget looks pretty good. I know we're going to hit into our reserves here coming up for this fire station rebuild, but I just would say that down, we may want to look at that at some point. That's all. That's all I got. Thank you for the report. I know I've asked it for a while, so.
I had a couple questions. I just wanted to make sure. So right now we have 14, right, on the 14 employees for the ambulance EMT. Is that right?
15 with the ambulance supervisor.
Oh, 15 with the supervisor. And then firefighters EMT is 16 or 17? That's additional, right? So in total we're 30,
So
31 or 32?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm not-
Sorry, so there's the single role, which I think is 14 plus one supervisor, right? That's
Right.
15. And then you said, I think on the daily count is 16 right now on firefighter paramedics, right? Not 17. Is that?
Yes, sir. So looking in the budget, we have 17 firefighter paramedics and one firefighter EMT.
Okay. And then, sorry, I was just trying to make sure I understood where we were right now. And then there's possible retirements that drive us down to 15.
Yes, sir. That's what the MOU called for, was a daily staffing of 15. And as we transition the ambulance and the staffing to the single role, we will start to decrease from that daily firefighter staffing of 17. We're at a daily staffing of 16, which will go to a daily staffing
Okay.
of 15.
And so, sorry, Steve, one question I had for you. Sorry. Is the two extra people the staffing of 4 on the truck, or is what's going to happen with the two
We're just saying that we reduce the amount of firefighters
Okay.
on duty every day.
by going down to 15?
By go to 50.
Okay, got it.
So if I can answer that a little bit, sir. If everybody's on duty and we have nobody in training, we have no sick, we have no vacation, and we have 16 personnel, we have a floater. So it takes 15 to staff everything at the minimum staffing. We could take that floater and put them on the truck and put the truck at 4.0. The issue is somebody's always in training, somebody's vacation. So that floater gets absorbed, helps with the overtime cost for that day. So trying to count that floater, that's our 4th person on the truck. It's just not a realistic.
Never happens. What you're telling me is that never really happens. We don't have a person. We always have somebody training or someplace else. Okay. And then my last question is, so we came up with the savings number, right? And we talked about the difference between the 40-hour week versus the 16-hour week. What's in our budget that we just approved? Was it the 56-hour weeks when we calculated the budget for this year? What number did we put in the budget? Because I think the savings, right, that are printed here, they don't really make any difference. It's what's in the budget that we
Right. So what's in the budget is there is also in the Emergency Medical Services Division,
Mhm.
there is overtime.
Okay.
And so the overtime is budgeted that's needed to pay the single role people.
And is the budgeted overtime the 16 hours, the difference between the 40 and the 56? Or
Yes.
is something different? Okay, so,
Yes.
so that's, at least that's in our budget. So the number that's in our budget is what the actual savings would be, not what was, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we didn't have a number in our budget that was understating a cost that was really there. So that's all I had.
It seems to me the number was a little less than, well, a little more than 50% of the cost. If it was 4.5 for the firefighter paramedics, it was going to be 60-ish% of that if you did it with the single role instead. So that
With the overtime?
and that's a less savings than you've written down in the.
Got it.
what we
Okay.
have today.
That's all I want to make sure is we didn't count something wrong in our budget. Okay. Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. Thanks for the update. Do we have any public comment on this?
So the public comment is open. Was this your card? There's no name on it. And please state your name for the record.
Of course, Eddie Epperson. Good evening, directors. My name is Eddie Epperson, representative of IAF Local 1230. To be clear, our single role EMTs and paramedics are Local 1230 members and they're our coworkers. They serve this district proudly with both pride and professionalism. This is not a criticism of them, their compensation, or the work that they do for this community. Our concern is whether the financial comparison that is presented to the board tonight is a complete apples to apples comparison of the reoccurring costs of both models. The district identifies approximately 4.3 million as the cost of 12 additional firefighter paramedics. But of course, that 4.3 million is the gross cost of those positions, not the net difference between the two models. The attachment puts the 57 position dual role model at approximately 22 million and the 45 position model at approximately 17.71 million. Add the district's 1.73 million single role program and that model changes to 19.45 million. Using the district's own figures, that difference comes to approximately 2.57 million annually. There are two additional areas that require clarification. First, overtime. The single role personnel are non-safety employees working a 48-96 schedule. They currently work a 56-hour week based on a 40-hour work week that equates to 16 hours scheduled overtime or 832 hours per employee annually. Across those 14 single role employees, that is approximately 11,648 in scheduled overtime hours every year, and a potential cost estimate of roughly 620,000 based off the current MOUs. That is not a vacancy or callback overtime. It's scheduled and inherent in the normal deployment schedule. So Local 1230 is asking, is that overtime included in the 1.73 million? And if it is, where? And if not, it should belong in the comparison. The second is retirement. The table assigns each step 5 firefighter approximately $136,000 annually in employer retirement costs. Across those 12 positions, that's approximately 1.63 million contained with the $4.3 million figure. We are asking staff to identify based on current rates and assumptions, how much represents the normal pension cost versus the district's existing unfunded actuarial liability, and how much is actually avoided by not hiring those employees. We are asking the district to remove we are not asking the district to remove legitimate costs. We're asking for a transparent comparison, identifying wages, benefits, predictable overtime, normal pension costs, and the unfunded liability for most models using consistent assumptions. If the single role model does save 2.6 million annually, then it should be demonstrated transparently in the budget. If the savings are materially different, this board and more importantly, the public deserve to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we do not have any additional public comment. And so that concludes our item.
Yep.
And then now we are on to committee reports. Anything from the audit committee?
Nothing to report.
And the ad hoc facilities for Station 41?
Nothing.
Nothing to report, but I guess I do have a question while we're on the comment. Because, it's been at least a month since I heard it, this was supposed to be a really hot topic and is there something happening? We're the two of us are on the committee. What's happening?
Yes, sir. So the committee, Deputy Chief Lambert and myself have been meeting with Alan. We have, at the direction of the ad hoc committee, have a couple designs that would fit on the site. So our next action is to get the ad hoc together and to show you those designs that would fit on that site without creating a completely new station. So we have those. It's just getting everybody together to have that meeting.
And do they include designs that weren't designed by our architect? In other words, we went around and looked at other examples of things that could work. And I know there was another one to be looked at, I think in San Ramon and maybe in someplace else in Confire.
San Jose.
Well, we looked at one in, oh yeah, and also in San Jose, yeah, exactly. And I just want to make sure we're not being constrained by the current architect that we have and what he has in his portfolio, because big world out there and we can, probably rent somebody else's design if we need to.
Yes, sir. So right now, we just have the ones that are from our current architect that we have the contract with. If we wanted to see other ones from different architects, we would have to reach out to them and see if they would share those designs with us.
Well, we can look at the buildings at least.
Yes, we have gone out, looked at San Ramon Station. We do have plans for a station that was in San Jose and other areas of the Bay Area. So we looked at, Chief Lambert and I looked at 3 different sets of plans. 2 worked for us. Third one it did not fit with our needs. But we're happy to share that with the ad hoc and walk through, why we think these ones are good fits.
Okay. I guess I'd still like to be involved in the process more than we have been lately.
Yes, sir. We will get a meeting scheduled.
Thank you.
Ad hoc committee for Station 45?
No meetings.
Nothing.
Ad hoc committee for the grant program to promote district activities?
Nope.
Nothing.
Ad hoc committee for the joint fire prevention, City of Orinda?
So we did have a meeting, kind of the usual suspects, getting up to speed on what the latest output from the state is as far as the new rules for the zone 0. And as I understand it, that's still basically a work in process. The city of Orinda has come up with a new website that they're very excited about that is more comprehensive and includes links to MOFD's website and a lot of other things that, I think they're taking into account evacuations and fire evacuations and fire preparedness and, a lot of things that could happen to the city. And so I think that, that was good to hear. And I hear it's popular. We heard feedback that they got from interviews that they did with people to find out how, what things were important to the public about what information they wanted and how they had been getting or not getting it and suggestions they had for how to get it. So the city has been doing an interview process there that we're hopefully going to be able to leverage when it comes to figuring out how we go out and communicate our message, which is often a joint message with the city of Orinda. So those are the major topics that I took away from the meeting.
That's thorough. I agree.
Okay. Ad hoc committee for the town of Moraga? And then we can,
Sorry, nothing to report.
thank you. We can take public comment for the committee reports. We do not have in-person or remote public comment. Do we have any requests for items on future agendas?
I do have a couple of requests. The first one I'd like to put on the agenda, a proclamation thanking Director Jex for his service to the board and community. And I'd also like to request a report. I'd like to request a report on director's attendance from January 1st, 2023 to present. And kind of similar to when you ask us, people who are going to be attending meeting, what your status is, I'd like to just see a attendance report showing in person, Zoom, and absent. That's it.
Any other future agenda items? From any other directors? Okay, hearing none, we can open public comment on the future agenda items. And we do not have any public comment, remote or in person. And so we can now adjourn the meeting. The time is 9:53. All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
So give it a little bit, turn this off.